So we can do what's Hondo on the mic. From Leo's Paradise, random stream drop like a Dragon Ball fight. No lie, plan stream stacking up, but here's a twist in time. Freestyling on the deck like Luffy's punchlines. Up the channels faster than Zoro sword swings. Gaming pop culture, it's the chaos he brings. Talking movie reboots, superhero hype. Hondo passing the mic, now Bishop's in sight. Cutting flip screen, frame by frame, I align. Laying bass lines heavy, keep the rhythm divine. Jumping 5 videos, can't keep up with the pace. Pass the mic back, Leo's leading the chase. Off the rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Playing a knob, Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. No script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life. The rails, no script, just a freestyle ride. Nerdcore king, let the randomness collide. Planning on Leo's got the flow to entice. It's words of paradise, the chaos comes to life.
Welcome back to the lunch hour. How are all you vital idols doing? It's a good day. I can feel it. I can feel it. It's a good day. It's almost the weekend. We got today, we got tomorrow, and then we are scot-free, everybody. I hope you're killing it. I hope you're getting yourself some protein on this fine Thursday afternoon. You know your boys got that green tea. No sugar. We're all getting in shape. Thanksgiving is over. I get it. Christmas is on the horizon. Y'all want to stuff your faces. But nah, we got to be getting healthy, alright? By the way, I'm going to lose more weight than Badger, right? And for those of you who don't know, the Cabal got ourselves a little post-Christmas fitness change of heart coming along. And I'm getting a head start. Boys, fully back on carnivore. It's been 6 days, meat only. It's been the dream. We got a lot to talk about today, man. We got Metatron calling out Candace Owens. There's some Asmongold being called a Nazi. What a shot. Dude, we got our boy Crowder put out a deport all illegals, change my mind. That's going to be a lot of fun. Gen Z melting down. And then, of course, we got gaming news. There'll be plenty of gaming news as well. It's going to be a long stream, boys. I know we were supposed to do the long stream yesterday, but YouTube was on some bullshit, so we ended around the 2-hour mark like normal. So that being said, yeah, we're going to do it the right way today. Now, we got a few things. Before we get into any of the content, we got a few things to discuss. For one, Griff, we got some tier goals in there. I want to see us hit some tier goals. I want to see us hit some fucking numbers. We can hit either a hundo or just, $10 super chats. Then we will be extending the stream plus doing a gaming stream tonight. It'll be a blast. Y'all are absolute legends. In fact, we had some pre-stream legends up in this bitch already. Piranha Pout coming in with a 2-banger. Says, looking good, Leonidas. Yo, shout out to you, Piranha Pout. And then St. Hugo with a 5-banger. To appease the YouTube Hulu of the Void routing. Dark L of the pings. May today's stream run smoothly again. Pings looking good, baby. Pings are looking good. YouTube was on some bullshit yesterday, but pings are looking good today.
You can't keep getting away with it!
Speaking of, let's say hello to all you vital idols up in this bitch. We got the Free Expression Warrior in here, Valiant Goat, Matt Fun and Cool, who's personally tired of hearing about Crazy Candace. Hey, look, she's gonna be just one of them, myriad of topics today. Frankly, I don't get to talk about Crazy Candace enough, and knowing that Metatron put out a video on her, I imagine is gonna be spicy, because your boy loves calling out right-wing grifters. As somebody who moralistically more often aligns with the right wing, even though I fucking loathe government, your boy's an anarchist, but moralistically aligns with the right wing, Candace is a fucking disgrace, and I cannot wait to talk ridiculous shit. Valiant Goat's up in here, Piranha Pout, St. Hugo, Hani Maui, the Sleeping Nova, my boy Abomination AJ, Unknown Entity is up in here, Cal's Warborn Misfits, shout out, Harris House Guy, what is up, my man with the plan? Let's see, who else? Matt Stanford is here. Yo, and Terrace House Guy for a 5-banger. Just supporting. I appreciate the support. You absolute crazy bastard. It means the world to me. Thank you so much. Who's crazier, Melanie or Candace? Oh, absolutely Melanie. Absolutely Melanie. Like Candace, she isn't crazy. I know that the thumbnail says she's crazy. She is, but she's self-aware to an extent. Like, she's more grifter than she is crazy. Melanie Mac is straight up insane. Straight up insane. Angmar WK, what is up, you absolute brilliant bastard. You beautiful bastard. Again, Terror Test Guy, thank you so much. Now, guys, before we go further, before we actually get into the content proper, right, I have something to ask of you. Because, yo, Golden Apples, what is up? I have something to ask of all of you guys. It would mean the absolute world to me. Grandma Paradise, first of all, I want to say, nobody has, like, been more just enthusiastic and proud and supportive of my sort of content creation journey than both my father and my Grandma Paradise. And today, December 4th, is Grandma Paradise's birthday. She turns 73 years old today, so I want every single one of you in chat right now to say happy birthday, Grandma Paradise, in the chat. I want to see the chat flooded with happy birthday, Grandma Paradise, because, yeah, again, she is a legend. She does so much for me. She has been just a big advocate of what your boy does here on YouTube. She has no idea about none of this shit. She don't know about fucking gaming. She doesn't know about anything to do with anime. She watches every stream, every video, because she's a legend. So yes, I want to see some happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. There we go. Piranha Pal member for 10 months. Happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. Look at that. Sea-Brew. Happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. Minimal Ever Live. Happy birthday to the wonderful woman who Leon got his hair from. My hair is like 4 times longer than hers. She got some short hair. My hair is like 4 times longer than my grandma's. Personal 11 says happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. Angmar says happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. Cal's Warborn Misfits. Happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. She hates being called Granny. I'm all that. She hates being called Granny. It's Grandma. Grandma Paradise. But no, you didn't know that. You're forgiven. Terrace House guy saying it. Zalodi saying it. This is gonna just warm her heart. Her little 4'10" fucking heart. So yes, I'm sure she's gonna see this and think that it's awesome. So shout out to all you guys. Thank you for wishing my grandmother a happy birthday. Alrighty. Let's get into some content proper. We need to talk about Candace Owens. Yes, we do. Candace Owens is a scourge on the right wing. Like, there's literally nothing this broad says that can be taken seriously. The thing is, I don't even disagree in theory with a lot of what she believes. It's the extremes she takes it to. Like, there's a way to convince people of your line of thinking without going batshit off the rails insane. Like, she's out there claiming that the French, military or French Secret Service, whatever who cares what the French call their own version of the Secret Service? Doesn't matter. They're French. They're gross. They're disgusting. But it's claiming that they put a hit out on her. And you know what? 5 years ago, when she was like somewhat sane, I'd have bought it. I'd have believed it. I'd been like, yo, that's crazy. What's going on here? Now I'm like, oh, Candace, you self-important narcissistic slut. So yeah, let's see what Metatron got to say about crazy Candace.
The next person that I want to speak about, but in this case, is not a situation where I prepared something like in other scenarios and then I tell you what I think. No, this is a situation where, guys, you really need to help me out because I don't think I understand the situation properly and I need your help. We're going to talk about...
Don't worry. I'm here to help, Metatron. I am quite familiar with Candace Owens. I am here to help.
Candace Owens, because I am very confused.
Macron, not the military? Yeah, who controls the military? Right? The president.
I am extremely confused.
The president himself's not just gonna fucking walk up, whip out a blicky, and blow Candace away. That's not how it would work.
I opened YouTube by mistake. We're gonna look for some videos and some clips, and I am so confused because every time I watch something from her, if it's stuff that is like older, sometimes I've heard her say stuff and I'm like, yeah, sure, I can agree with that. But the recent stuff, we have the entire situation when it comes to...
Define recent. Define the recent stuff. Because Candace been out her gourd, like, ever since, let's say post-COVID when everything started to reopen. Like, she's been out her gourd since then.
To Charlie Kirk. She said it was a friend. Then she said that Israel offed him. Then she said that it wasn't Israel, it was what?
Dude, Candace Owens got more in common with Cenk Uygur. Like, yeah, they might be on opposite sides of the political aisle, but they are both, like, hardline Israel, everything is Israel's fault. Now, mind you, your boy is anti-Israel. I don't like Israel. I don't like the fact that we keep sending money to Israel. Like, that doesn't make me pro-Palestine either, by the way. I don't like either of them. They can glass each other for all I give a fuck. It's not our goddamn problem. But the point is, not everything is Israel's fault, right? There are other people at play.
What was the latest one she said? Who is it that actually after Charlie Kirk? Was it Russia? Was it an inside job? That's why I need your help. I need to figure it out. So like she's been changing her position on who? France? Was it France that off Charlie Kirk? Like I'm a little confused here. The other thing when it comes to her, and I don't know if she was trolling, that's what I need. Is it true that she doesn't believe that dinosaurs are a thing? Like
That is correct. She does not believe that dinosaurs were a thing.
Jews make dinosaurs? Nux has coverage on her. We are watching Nux tonight. Absolutely. She's saying France did it. Yeah, that's what I mean. I mean, at this point, she looks like a conspiracy theorist to me. But I don't know enough, and I don't want to, misjudge. I'm going to need to find a video about the dinosaurs. And then the other one I want to see. Oh, also, she's been saying that they are trying to assassinate her. Is that right? Anyways, I'm gonna look for the dinosaur video.
By the way, let's say the French are trying to assassinate her, right? Let's grant that. Let's say that's true. I don't believe it, by the way, but let's say it's true. Bro, all she gotta do is whip out a pocket knife and they'll fucking surrender. They're French. Like, come on now. Are we really gonna try and pretend like all of a sudden we're worried about the French again? They ain't been relevant since like the 1700s.
And then she's an ambulance chaser. We'll see. So let me see. Let's see what we can learn. Let's start. Do we start with a dinosaur that are fake and gay, apparently, or do we start with reptilians? Candace Owens says Elon Musk must. Let me see this one. Wait.
I'm telling you, I don't even think these people are human. Like I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean?
No.
Like they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download at night. You know?
I don't know.
Is it a joke?
Ilana.
Here's the thing is, I don't think it's a joke. Now, it may have started off as a joke, or it may have started off as hyperbole. But, like, you know how when you tell yourself a lie so much, even you begin to believe it? I think Candace Owens has been grifting and lying for so long that she now believes her own grift.
AI, we just don't know. Now, this is how she gonna test. This is where we say she's lost her mind.
Let's go.
She's about to tell you how she would love to test to see if they are AI or some hybrid. Please remember, that's what she's going to do to test.
Okay.
Listen? Okay,
Listen.
cool. We all ears. All right, cool.
You know, like my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like I don't know. I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't know if I stabbed you if you bleed. You know, I'm not going to stab them.
Now you're going to say,
Well, I don't know if she actually means to stab, but okay, reptilian.
To be fair, I've seen women do crazier shit.
Then let's see the dinosaur one. Let's go.
You don't believe dinosaurs are real.
So this is a funny one. So this is one of the ones where I'm like, gut. I'm not kidding. And it was so funny. I just looked up to her and I was like, dinosaurs? That seems pretty fake and gay.
You don't believe dinosaurs are
Okay. We have so much evidence. So much evidence. And not even evidence, because like evidence can be wrong. Evidence is just what you use to come to a conclusion. And the conclusion you can come to can be wrong. You can have bad evidence. We have so much proof of dinosaurs. It is bananas to believe that's not real. Like, man, we thought the coelacanth was an extinct, species of fish until we rediscovered it in the 1930s. But we knew it was real because we found fossilized remains of them. We just didn't know they still existed. Dude, yeah, obviously dinosaurs are fucking real. 100%.
real.
So dinosaurs are fake and gay. Can we figure out why? I mean, I don't want to watch a 10 minutes video about dinosaurs being fake and gay, but I do want to see a little more. Let's see.
Looked up to her and I was like, dinosaurs? That seems pretty fake and gay.
Right.
What's going on, everybody? My name
Yeah, oh no, not one of those with Overwatch while you talk. No, I can't do that. I'm sorry.
Based. Absolute base. Yeah, for like, I'll listen to those sort of videos if I'm like playing video games or whatever and I just want some audio on in the background. I will not. If I click on a video because I actually want to sit down and watch it and I see that you're just using like gameplay footage, I'm clicking off your video. I don't give a fuck about whatever random game you're playing while you record audio over it, alright? I want some footage, or I want to see you talking, or I want to see an avatar talking, something like that. Cal's Warborn Misfits member for 6 months, shout out. This is Caligula. Yeah, I know. Yeah, Cal is in the name. You ready for what's going to be the best adaptation at Vegas? We know it's DM's. Oh, Video Game Awards. I know it's, you know what? I'm not even going to read the rest of
Believe
that.
dinosaurs are real.
There is a Christ conspiracy that's happening right now, which is the intentional removal of Christ because they want people not to believe in God, but instead to believe in humans. That is what evolutionary theory was about. I was just walking. I was like, dinosaurs.
Okay, two things can be true. Like, the existence of dinosaurs does not in any way, shape, or form negate the existence of the Christian God or Christ or anything to that effect. What the fuck?
That seems pretty fake and gay. There was no concept of dinosaur until 1850. That's very recent. Within
Okay, wait a second. While I do understand that there is a rise in secularism, although then again, in fact, in the last few years, a lot of people are converting to Christianity. I'm not going to address the statements that...
To be fair, Tebow, like, it's different when it's a content creator, I know, because I already have a personal attachment to you and know who you are and can put a face or put emotions and whatnot to it. So, like, I can honestly say that if I weren't already, like, familiar with you or friends with you or anything like that, yeah, I probably wouldn't watch it. But then you show yourself on streams all the time, so there's still obviously a real person behind that.
She said when it comes to the... Because it would be a very interesting topic to do, the conflict, possible conflict and between science and faith, and how instead I think the two things can absolutely work in conjunction. But I don't want to make this into...
Not only can they work in conjunction, they do work in conjunction. And I don't need to get all, I don't need to break out the theology and how it works with cosmogony. Like, that in and of itself would be an incredibly long and potentially interesting, potentially boring. It depends on what you guys are into, sort of conversation. And maybe it'll come up further in the video. But the point is, yeah, there is... For any sort of question you have as to, well, how can you have God and science with this? And like insert topic here, I can give you an answer. I can give you an answer for probably 99% of positions that you were to ask me because it's very easy to do.
That video. But if you're interested, I will. Just let me know. I'm not sure, though, I understand the part about dinosaur because, I mean, we have medieval representations of dragons that kind of look like dinosaurs. And also, it's not like, I mean, archaeology is a relatively recent field. So, anyways, let's see. Her face is all we need to know. Do you think she lost it? She might have lost it. What if she...
That's implying she ever had it. To be fair, that's implying she ever had it. Because you got to remember, right? You got to remember, Candace Owens was pro Anita Sarkeesian and was like on that side of Gamergate back in 2014. So she's always, like I don't know about always, but she is more often than not been on the wrong side of many of these social issues.
She's the reptilian.
in that same decade, they were like, dinosaur bones.
What
And
up,
I started
Matt?
finding them everywhere. I'm like, okay, so nobody found this. And then like suddenly there's entire museums.
Dinosaurs are gay? What does that even mean? Why did you say that? The asteroid must have been homophobic. Transosaurus rex. It's a bird that identifies as a lizard. Now we know why they're called triceratops. Stegosaurus. Huh?
Oh, man.
All right, this dude's cooking. This dude's cooking.
And
I
this
could
is
go all
good.
day. It wasn't 1850. The first fossil find is credited to Robert Plot in like in the 1600s. Nobody talked about dinosaurs before. Yeah, nobody talked about them because they weren't discovered.
Well, yeah. Oh, and again, I do have that theory when it comes to the possibility. Because if you look at a dragon, there is this meme, actually. I am saying it a little tongue-in-cheek, but I always keep a little bit of an open mind. Because, guys, I got to show you this. There is a meme about this. I don't know if you've ever seen it. Let me see if I can find it. I got to use Google, though. I found it. Okay, ready? Middle Ages bullshit. The dragon, right? And that they draw in the iconography. Then 1850, they think it looks like this because of the bones. 1920, they examine. No, it actually looked like this. 1970s, they change it. No, it looked like this. Now, it's like the medieval.
It's almost as if different species of look different. Like guys, let me show you something wild. I'm gonna show you something wild. Various different bird species. Let's go to images, and yeah, here we go. These are all birds. These all look pretty fucking vastly like penguins, obviously different from parrots, notably different from hummingbirds, very different from the ostrich, but they're all still fucking birds, right? It's the idea that's like, oh man, how can this be real? We see this all the time in the real world. What are you talking about? This is completely normal. Like, Chihuahuas don't look the fucking same as Great Danes.
Evil stuff. And I mean, if you think about it, they did say, when it comes to modern understanding of how dinosaurs were, which of course science changes constantly, which is why the way some people are so dogmatic about science, this is the science, and if you disagree, well, that's dogmatic. That's not how, that's how faith works. I say as a man of faith, God never changes. But when it comes to science, you shouldn't be like, you're not allowed to criticize it. That's exactly how science works, because it changes constantly depending on the available data. Regardless, what's funny is that if you look at the current paleontology...
Correct. Scientists use a thing that popping your fingers... There we go. I don't know why Mike's picking it up. You would cause arthritis. We now know that's bullshit. Popping your fingers once absolutely does not cause arthritis. But you know what? We had to do some tests and some studies and whatnot to figure that the fuck out.
Pathologists and the way they represent the Tyrannosaurus Rex, they think that there is a subgroup of them that say that it's possible we got it wrong, and the reality is that they had feathers, and that they wouldn't do this already. Everyone agrees that they wouldn't roar. You know, when you have like it's awesome, by the way, but it's not real. Like the T-Rex roaring like a lion is not a thing. And in fact, they say that probably they would have made a hissing sound. So it would be so funny if we like make fun of medieval people because like, oh, medieval, you're bullshit. And then we go through all of the scientific curve of understanding, and then at the end, medieval people were right. I love it. I freaking love it. And this guy's fun. Good luck, Gino is his name. Let's go.
That's what the fucking word discovered means.
Yeah.
Candace Owens is a pseudo-intellectual.
You don't believe dinosaurs are real.
There is a Christ conspiracy that's happening right now, which is the intentional removal of Christ because they want people not to believe in God, but instead to believe in humans.
I need somebody to give me, like, a legitimate argument. Like, a legitimate argument as to how Christ and God and the existence of the Christian faith, which, again, I'm a member of, I'm a part of, I do believe in, how that conflicts or contradicts the concept of dinosaurs. Truly curious.
That is what evolutionary theory was about. I was just walking. I was like, dinosaurs, that seems pretty fake and gay. There was no concept of dinosaur until 1850. That's very recent. Within that same decade.
He kind of...
By the way, there was concept of dinosaurs but before 1850. She's just also objectively wrong there, but that's neither here nor there.
It restarted. I thought it was continuing. Okay, so that's the...
Chaos War Misfits for a two-banger. Melanie and Candace are why asylums are necessary. Fucking, you're telling me. Don't forget, back when asylums used to be a thing, right? Which we, of course, need to bring back. Men would drop their wives off there because they were just a little insane in the membrane. And I, for one, think we should bring that back.
Dinosaur thing. It seems like she actually believes it. I think she wasn't joking. Was she joking about Elon Musk?
Dinosaurs would predate the evolutionary process and would therefore lend credence to the idea that humans evolved because we did. Humans did evolve, and that also doesn't contradict that doesn't contradict religion in any way, shape, or form. The idea that if we're going to look at this theologically, that God created, Homo sapien doesn't contradict anything that would come before it evolutionarily, because Homo sapien is a different species. I'm very confused as to how that would be. That's not contradictory to anything in the Bible. Now, mind you, that being said, belief in the Bible is different than belief in the Christian God. The Bible is 100% fallible. God isn't. Belief in God isn't. But, like, the Bible itself, yeah, it could have gotten plenty of shit wrong. I mean, what's up with the 44 missing books the Catholic Church have buried? To be fair, you can't really conflate what's in the Bible. For example, especially because, let's take a look at the Aramaic text, right? The Aramaic text. Let's take a look at some pretty simple verses. That God was created in man's image, right? Let's use that one. The man was created in God's image. The man was created in the image of God. Well, that's not accurate. And so if you look at the ancient Aramaic text, Aramaic only had about 3,000 words. So unlike English, which has about 160,000, give or take, there was multiple meanings per word. So when you look at the Aramaic symbol for man, it also had it's the same word and symbol for human or person. So person, because human wasn't really what they referred to, but person. So the text likely actually isn't that man was made in God's image. It was that people or person was created in God's image, which is why both women and men would be created in God's image. You know, that's basically just a way to differentiate that animals were not, but humans were. So again, you have to actually understand the history and the etymology of these long dead languages before you can even try and make arguments like that.
Being a reptilian. Also, shout out to my man. Shout out to Elon Musk, guys. You're like, what are you on about, Metatron? I'll tell you what I'm on about. Ladies and gentlemen, Elon Musk commented under one of my posts. Here he is.
Oh, Metatron be hitting the big time. Elon Musk noticing him now. Shout out. Also, Metatron commented on my most recent Neon Leon stream. I feel so noticed.
He said 100%, ladies and gentlemen. My post was, white should always be uppercase when describing the ethnicity. White, not white. I'm gonna die on this hill. Black people, white people, brown people, all caps, not black people, white people, lowercase, brown people. Academia is evil for pushing racism, and if you agree with them, you are either a coward or a racist. And
to be fair, it's not an either-or scenario. You could be both.
Double down, and Elon, ladies and gentlemen, the man himself, 229.2 million followers, agrees. So I told him, thank you very much, thank you for your support. Subscribe. Now, some of the people said, well, actually, I don't care about uppercase or lowercase as long as there is consistency. And that, I'm fine with that. I mean,
hey, shout out to Janice Landers, member for 10 months, says, love being a member. Well, I love having you as a member. Thank you very much.
I like the fact, I don't know what it is. I like uppercase, capitalization. But if you want, no, I think they should all be lowercase because it's an adjective. Fine. What I have a problem with is this, which is exactly what the entirety of academia is pushing. There's no denial of this. It is happening.
I'll be real, Metatron. This is I agree with you. However, this should be a separate video. We're supposed to be learning about crazy Candace here.
So now you can't use the, oh, it's not happening, gaslighting techniques because it's everywhere. And I myself have made several videos to expose all of these, not only the academies, but the academics that are going around with it. They're okay with it because they're cowards or they're racist. It's one of the two. They don't want to lose their jobs. No. It's wrong, it's racist, it's incoherent, and it's also ugly to look at.
What up, Free Expression
All right,
Warrior?
moving along.
Speaking of Ben Shapiro, let's move on to Candace.
Ben Shapiro.
There we go. Candace has some very interesting thoughts.
Please.
They're not interesting, by the way. Candace doesn't have interesting thoughts. She has retarded thoughts that are so retarded they cross the line into being funny. They're not particularly interesting.
Some of the tech oligarchs who are like, completely taking all of our fates into their hands with no...
Rednap says, you were third on my most watched YouTube channels this year. Hypnotic was #1, Geeks and Gamers was #2. Well, I could tell you, I appreciate that, but I should be higher than Geeks and Gamers. Let's be real. I should be higher than Geeks and Gamers. No, thank you, man. I appreciate you.
Input from us whatsoever. So glad to see that she's focusing her mental energy on them. Her take is very interesting, though. Let's take a listen.
Let's go.
I don't even think these people are human. Like, I look at Elon Musk and Sam Altman and Peter Thiel, and I'm pretty sure they're hybrid. You know what I mean? Like, they just look like an Apple software that I should be able to download it.
They don't. They look like regular humans. By the way, I'm on the fence about the reptilian overlord, stuff like that. Like, to be fair, there's some pretty interesting arguments for it. Obviously, I do a conspiracy theory podcast every Tuesday. Like, I've got some pretty out there beliefs, or at least some out there, questions about, the reptilian people, or insert any conspiracy theory here. But you can't just say like they don't look like humans. They absolutely fucking look like humans. Like, I'll be real, these look far more like humans than a lot of other people we've seen. Dude, go to Walmart. Go to Walmart. You will see some people that are like straight out of the hills have eyes at Walmart. They look far more like hybrids than Elon Musk or Peter Thiel.
Night, like my phone's getting an update or something. It's something in the eyes. Like, I don't know. I'm like, I know I'm human, but I don't.
Something in the eyes. Yeah, Candace got the craziest eyes of all of them, dude. Candace got some straight up, like, I will cut your cock off while you sleep after a good dicking sort of eyes. What are you talking about? These look like they got normal ass eyes. They just look like they got normal ass eyes.
Like, I don't know if I stabbed
Hey, thank you, Cal. That's
bleed,
awesome.
You know, I'm not going to stab them, but I don't know if they bleed all the way. I think a battery would fall out. You know what I mean? And I just get that sense. I've always known it was demonic, and people just
Okay, that
I've always known it was demonic. What the fuck does that even mean? What the fuck does that even... Okay, by the way, let's say they are lizard people, right? Let's just grant her the idea, briefly, that they're lizard people. That doesn't mean demons are entities from hell. They're not corporeal beings. That doesn't mean demonic. Like, by your logic, anything that is not human is demonic. So, elephants are fucking demonic. Mosquitoes are demonic. Your pet fucking cat's demonic. No! Like, even if these are, like, lizard people, that doesn't mean fucking demonic, Melanie Black.
3 statements here. I'm going to analyze this, guys. So, 3 statements have been made. Allegations have been made here by Candace Owens, if she means it and she's not trolling. But to be honest, she's
More wisdom for a 2-banger. I was late and gay. Happy birthday, Grandma Paradise. Well, dude, shout out. Thank you so much for a well wish and a happy birthday to Grandma Paradise.
Sounds like she means it. So either they are hybrid with aliens, meaning reptilians. I mean, that's what we've got there. We've got a picture of reptilians anyway. So they're either hybrids with reptilians, or they are cybernetics, so they are synthetics. But this is a different thing already, because reptilians is, I mean, you need to get into, reptilians are not metal. And demonic. So maybe they're demons, she's saying. That's 3 different allegations here. Literally. Which one is it?
get on board because, as we talked about in this book, they are using science and this idea of technology and this idea of transforming society for the better to indoctrinate.
If you are so anti-science, then stop doing your fucking podcast, because as scientists had to figure out how the fucking microphone worked for you to do your goddamn show and the webcams. It's not like there's some fucking like little angels within all of your microphones and your cameras and your studio setups to make your live streams work. People like this blow my goddamn mind. Like, I'm not saying trust the science, right? I've never been the trust the science guy. There's a reason that we test. There's a reason the science changed. There's a reason for the scientific method. But you can't just come out here and just make these blatantly anti-science claims while using technology that was granted by science.
Indoctrinate us into accepting this.
Okay, so the fact that people use technology to indoctrinate us is one of my strong...
By the way, technology... It does not just mean electronics, by the way. I'm going to show you guys the definition of technology. It's actually very simple because most people don't know what technology actually is. Technology is just the application of scientific knowledge for practical purposes, especially in industry. Okay, when humans figured out how to rub sticks together to create fire, that was technology. That is technology. The fucking wheel. Just stone, make circle, roll, easier move. That's fucking technology. So what are you on about, you dumb broad?
Longest lines of attack. With that being said, I mean, technology is necessary. That's what you're using, Candace, in order to present your counter message, whatever the heck this is. I'm a little confused, though.
And it's wrong and it's backwards. And the main component of all of this is psychology, right? They're able to do it because of psychology, making you think that society has gotten better.
Well, no. Laws are only something that anyone can replicate and get the same results over and over. Science is just the act of basically studying to figure out how the world works, following basically a scientific method to come to conclusions to how the world operates, or really just how the universe operates really at large. So something can be science without getting the same results over and over. What you're referring to specifically are laws.
Our kids have objectively gotten dumber. We've become fatter. We've become less healthy. We've become less emotionally sound. And yet they are convinced.
Oh, trust me, Candace. We can tell that at least you have become less emotionally sound. Hey, thank you so much for wishing Grandma Paradise happy birthday, EB.
This is like humanity's great leap forward. We put a man on the moon, and he just like called him up and was like, "Hey, Prez, what's up? I'm up here." Yeah.
Does she not believe in? Is she also a the moon landing never happened conspiracy theory? I'm not pointing the finger, by the way. I'm just trying to understand.
Now, to be fair, I'm curious about the moon landing. I am. I don't go one way or the other on it. I'm very... it's a mixed bag. There's a lot of points. There's a lot of good points as to why it did happen. There's a lot of good points as to why it was absolutely fucking faked. So I can go either way on the moon landing stuff. I lean more towards we did than we didn't, but it is up for debate. Shout out Janice Landers with a $10 super sticker. It's a cheerleader jumping up. You love to see it. Truly appreciated. You know what? Let's go ahead and give you a clip for that one.
Name one word that starts with G pronounced like J. Gentrification. Shoot, should have thought of that. I was just in San Francisco.
Yeah, shout out again, truly appreciate it, thank you. And then it says, if she hates technology so much, why not just become Amish? But even the Amish use technology, guys. That's the thing. The Amish, they use carts and buggies. That's fucking technology. Now they don't use electricity, but they still use technology. Candace is that retarded that she doesn't even know what technology means.
It's another one that I'm confused about.
So cool. It's really great. It's nice. Starry night up here. Actually, I go by in 69 and they get these people, they tell you like he's a genius. They're all writing like he's a genius. So we should just accept that Elon Musk is a genius because like all the writers who are obviously indoctrinated into the occult are telling us that this is the next person that we should worship. The establishment of Hollywood. It was all occults. They were all Aleister Crowley proteges who were just
Hollywood was created by Aleister Crowley proteges. Does Candace not realize that until the 1960s, Hollywood actually leaned very heavily right and conservative? Like, Hollywood hasn't always been this leftist cesspool that now that is, I would say Hollywood is demonic. Absolutely. But that's a relatively recent thing in the grand scheme of humans. Like, Hollywood was very right-wing and conservative until the 60s.
Kids and summoning demons, and demons are real. So at the same time that they're summoning demons, they are making us all believe that faith is not real.
You know, what I find problematic with this is that I understand how this is going to connect to some people. You say she's right about that there are people trying to summon demons. Right, but are they trying to summon demons? That's my question. Because she's saying it as a statement of fact, but how does she know that? I personally can't imagine Elon Musk in his whatever the heck mansion or house. I know he has some smaller houses as well. That guy's tech obsessed, obviously. I imagine him watching movies about colonizing Mars rather than having some dead chicken and painting a pentagram on the floor while reciting in Latin. I don't imagine him doing that. Personally. So it's weird for me to make an accusation like that when you don't have proof that, and I'm not even saying...
No, she is in fact retarded. No Google not giving you my name. Yeah, no, she is retarded.
Proof like I
functionally, but still retarded.
Some of you, I could see it. Some of you are saying demons are real, and some of you are saying demons don't exist. That's beyond the point. You can try to summon demons whether demons exist or not, right? It doesn't matter if you're a man of faith or if you're a man of science and secularism at this point. You can still have someone who does everything. Like they get whatever the heck, they get a goat and they cut the goats. Like this happened, right? In the Bronze Age, we have examples of things like this happening, and we know that. So the accusation of they're trying to summon demon is an accusation connected to the physical world. And that's the part that I'm having a little bit of an issue here with the tech oligarchs, if you want to call them like that. It's like, why are you connecting to something? I think she's doing it on purpose because some people, particularly people of faith like me, not working on me, but I'm saying it might work on some people that are like, oh yeah, no, yeah, of course, demons are awful, and oh, that's what they're doing. And I'm like...
I also want to remind you guys that Candace Owens doesn't believe in climate change. Now, mind you, climate change is objectively real. Now, how much the humans affect it, how much we affect it, that part's open for debate. Maybe not all, maybe a lot, maybe a little bit. Frankly, I don't think we affect it all too much at all. Maybe 1% to 2%, right? Point is, climate change is a real thing. Why? Because if an asteroid were to fucking, hit the Earth and the sun was to block out, the climate would change. Like, it's verifiably proven, it is factual, the Earth goes through these geological cycles. Climate change is objectively real. She doesn't believe in it whatsoever. Now, again, if you want to say, I believe the climate changes. I don't think humans have any effect on it. I'm A-okay with that argument. You can absolutely believe that, because frankly, that's pretty much where I'm at. And if we do have an effect, it absolutely is minuscule. It's absolutely minuscule. She doesn't believe in it at all. She is retarded.
Not that I know of.
You know, Judaism is a faith.
Right.
Israel is a state, and it is not above critique. And that what Bibi Netanyahu has done to the Palestinians since October 7th is...
Can you quote what Candace Owens says about climate change? I had to pull up, it's very old statements. It was back when she was on Joe Rogan the very first time. So this was like 8 years ago or something like that. So I can't quote it, but I'm sure we can find the reference.
A Holocaust. There is a Holocaust that is being committed on Palestinian children and women. And I'm not going to quiet my perspective on that, you know, to kowtow.
Why? Why do you care? Why do you care? I thought you were America first, right? Isn't that your claim, you're America first? Like, I'm gonna be real. I don't want to hear any, you know, public figure, political speaker, politician, whatever, say anything about Israel or Palestine, because I don't give a fuck. And you shouldn't either. Let the fucking people in the Middle East have their fucking spats and their wars that have been going on for 3,000 years. Who gives a fuck? This is a grift for you. Okay? I'll say the same thing about you as I said about Casey Tron, the dumb broad who was crying about losing her lawsuit against Ethan Klein a couple days ago. If the Palestine shit ended tomorrow, you would fucking forget about it within 5 days because you'd be searching for a new grift. Shut the fuck up.
To whatever the prevailing narrative is at the New York Post. You know, Judaism is a faith.
But it's not about, I mean, I agree, by the way, with the idea of you can be, when you say you disagree, whatever. You can say you disagree, there's a word. You can say you disagree with the actions of every state. There is not a single, particularly if it's a foreign state, even more so. But in general, I think that's...
You're missing the point, Red French Moon. I've made my thoughts on this very clear. We shouldn't fucking be there. We shouldn't be sending money there. Obviously, that's what I mean. You've been here before. You know my stance. You don't need to be pedantic. That's fucking retarded. Everybody else here knows what I'm talking about.
Absolutely fair. And people that call you anti-Semitic because you disagree with choices of deployment of a government is nonsense. The only anti-Semitism is the one that focuses on the race. If you disagree with the actions of a government, it is not anti-Semitic by definition. So
correct.
That. Anything else? What about this situation that she thinks that they want to assassinate her? All right, we're going to watch a little bit of this. It's an hour long. I'll put links in the description once I cut it out, but I need to watch this.
Hebrews and Shebrews, I am currently traveling, and I
haven't watched Nux in a minute. I need to get back to watching Nux.
Somewhat of a vacation, visiting family, but you know, I gotta keep the homies fed, gotta keep the people.
He said fed. He said fed. Nux is a fed confirmed. Everybody unsubscribe from Nux Taku. Fed confirmed.
Not hungry. Today we are making more drama with more people. Hell yeah, let's go. Lock in, boys and girls. It's a crazy rabbit hole we're going down today. We are going down the Candace Owens thinks the Jews are controlling everything rabbit hole, and it's gonna be incredibly fun.
I think it's him, by the way. He controls the White House. It's him. And he, by the way, you think... I'm going to tell you something about Nux.
I don't think it's true. I don't. I wish it were true. If Nux controlled the White House, oh, dude, shit would be getting done. But shit's not getting done, so Nux ain't in control.
Nux now that I know, and you don't, because I speak with the guy. This is not an avatar. Let that sink in. That's what he looks like. On camera.
I bet Candace Owens would think that fucking Nux and all VTubers are demonic as well. They're using technology to become these transhuman avatars, these anime characters with big jangly booties and tits. That way they can get men to goon more, and the more they goon, the more they ejaculate, they turn away from Christ. Yeah, VTubers are in fact demonic. That would be a Candace Owens level take.
Not an avatar.
So, this here...
No intro today, Israel in trouble.
Is Candace Owens. She is one of the biggest political commentators in the world right now. She is on the right. I would call her woke right, personally. You know,
agreed.
Woke right is when you blame everything in history on the Jews. Now, I do think there are some things that you can absolutely blame on the Jews. I know, this is a hot take. In fact, I even think you could be critical of Israel and not being an anti-Semite. I know this is a hot take these days, but welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to Insane Drama, because woke right that is when you blame everything on the Jews, all right? I previously did a content nuke on Candace Owens, going into details if you want more info. In that video, I showed clips where she blamed the Jews for inventing dinosaurs, putting them in the ground to trick Christians into thinking that the earth wasn't created by God, okay? She blamed dinosaurs on the Jews. When I saw that clip, I was like...
How would that, why would that, I mean, couldn't have been God who created the dinosaur? I don't understand.
Well, yes. No, you're correct, Metatron. That is exactly right. Yeah. God created the heavens and the earth, and upon creating the earth, he made all manner of little critters and creatures, including the dinosaurs.
And the connection there.
All right, bro. All right, bro. I think she's missing something.
Were you saying we're really listening to VTubers now? Oh, come on, man. You don't know who Nux is? Nux is based. There are a couple of VTubers that I enjoy when they play games, but usually I'm not into the VTuber space. But Nux is the exception, man. Nux is great. And Hypnotic is another one that is really good.
Here.
Yo! We got another Hypnotic reference. Shout out Metatron. Just keep pumping up, my boy. Pause? Nah.
So when I saw that, I started going a little deeper, and then of course...
By the way, told you, Hypno. You're a VTuber. Metatron calls you a VTuber. Sorry, homie, you a VTuber.
Blames the Jews on everything else in history. Also, she blames communism on the Jews. She blames the Holocaust on the Jews somehow. She's pretty cool like that. Anyway, definitely lock in, because she now blames the Jews for running the White House, and also says that RFK Jr., you know, the Make America Healthy...
Now, to be fair, I do think Israel runs, not the Jews as a fucking collective people, because there's a whole lot of Jews out there, but I do think Israel runs the White House, absolutely, and have for a while.
Again, guy, for being blackmailed by the Jews as well. Now, there's no evidence to any of this, which makes it even funnier. Oh, and she also says that the Jews killed JFK. So since the Kennedy assassination files came out, I feel like we should definitely look into that rabbit hole as well.
You know, when it comes to JF Kennedy, it's literally people blame everything. I've seen so many different conspiracy theories that it's funny, because I'm not against the possibility that out of all the like 957 different conspiracy theories when it comes to how Kennedy's assassination actually happened, maybe one is right. Problem is figuring out which one it is, because they blame. One thing about Kennedy, though, I had a conversation the other day.
You say the CIA killed JFK. I don't think it was just the CIA. I do think the CIA was involved. I think that the mob were the ones that killed JFK, but I think the mob did that under orders from the government, and that the CIA is complicit in covering it up and likely aiding in the setup. But I think it was the mob that actually did the hit. But yes, the government, I believe, was absolutely involved, 100%. The American government, mind you. I believe it was the American government. I don't know that Israel has anything to do with JFK.
On X with not really a conversation, it was more of a clash, and we were talking about political violence, whether there is more political violence on the left.
Why? Because JFK was him and his brother did a huge political crackdown on both ending the surveillance state, ending the CIA, as well as organized crime. The mob and the government, and especially the intelligence agencies, both had vested interests in taking out JFK. CIA was the mob? No, I mean, they're clearly two separate organizations. They're just two separate organizations that worked in tandem. Think of it like, for anybody that's seen One Piece, think of it like the, not the Seven Warlords, right? The Seven Warlords were pirates, were like 7 warlord pirates that were able to operate under the jurisdiction of the world government. They are basically the 7 pirate crews the world government would not go after so long as they answered the world government's beck and call when they would arise. So basically, they were pirates that the world government the world government would turn a blind eye to. That's the CIA and the mob.
Left, or whether there is more political violence on the right, and I'm doing research on that because I'm considering putting up a video about it with actual data. And it's kind of funny because one of the things we were saying, because this person was advocating 100% that the right wing is more violent, while I was saying, well, why don't we look at the actual data and see what's going on? And then,
well, there's no reason to look at the data to see what's going on, because the data is fudged and altered. I mean, we all know the data does show the right wing is more violent. However, that data is skewed and altered because it does not list any left-wing violence is political violence. It just lists it as crimes. Like, for example, none of the crimes that happened by, Black Lives Matter or Antifa during the Summer of Love was listed as left-wing terrorism. So, I mean, the data would show right-wing violence is more common because the data has been fudged.
He also said, let's look at the data. And we were talking about, for instance, assassinations at presidents. And the reality is, however you want to look at it, they tried to assassinate Trump. No one tried to assassinate Biden nor Harris. And that is something that needs...
To be fair, no one really needed to try and assassinate Biden. Now it's just more of this, like, this seems like a problem that'll solve itself kind of situations.
To be put into the discussion of not just numbers, but also,
who's worse, Fuentes or Candace Owens? Honestly, I think Candace Owens. I think Candace Owens is worse than Fuentes. Like, Fuentes, yes, he's aggressively anti-Semitic. He's aggressively anti-Israel. He doesn't really have the greatest, well-thought-out positions. However, he is at least consistent. Candace Owens has flip-flopped. Candace Owens goes to even further extremes on other subjects besides Israel than Candace Owens. Nick Fuentes is a much better speaker. Like, for better or for worse, he's a much better speaker. Like, again, I'm not a fan of either one. But I think that Candace Owens is far worse than Nick Fuentes. Seabrew for a two-banger. Fun fact, Badger is CIA trained. Watch out, Leon. I don't believe that for a moment. And even if he was, oh well, I'm fucking police trained. And I'm gonna be real. CIA don't got a whole lot on, like, they're not that impressive. They're not that great, right? If the CIA was all that impressive, then why are we still living in the shithole we're living in? The CIA is equally compromised. Why ain't they doing shit about the Illuminati? Because they're under the control. Nah, CIA is nothing.
Which side tried to assassinate the sitting president? And usually when I say that, they either tell me Nancy Pelosi's husband, which it's like, okay, but one, he didn't die. Two, is not the sitting president, so we can talk about it. But also, I think it wasn't politically motivated anyways. It's not like the guy went there with a hammer because of his politics, the way I understand it. So it shouldn't even be part of the discussion. But then
that's correct. I mean, and this is something that a lot of people don't even realize, or don't know, or don't understand, that the attack on Nancy Pelosi's husband wasn't right-wing violence because it wasn't politically motivated. There's no evidence to support that. In fact, I believe there's evidence to the contrary, stating outright that it wasn't politically motivated. So, like, that's not even right-wing violence.
What they say, well, what about Kennedy? Kennedy.
No, I disagree that Hassan is worse than Candace Owens. I actually think Candace Owens is worse than Hassan, and here's why. Hassan, yes, he's a liar, he's a grifter, all the same as Candace Owens. Hassan doesn't have power like Candace Owens. Candace Owens actually has an inner circle of individuals with legitimate power, right? Candace Owens, was up close and tight and personal, with Tucker Carlson. I think she still is. With Nick Fuentes. She got her start with Turning Point USA. She's actually been around all these politicians that are currently in control. Hassan is Hassan's a figurehead. He's a tool. Now, he's a figurehead and a tool for an egregious ideology. But at the end of the day, he's still just that. Candace Owens actually does, at least in some way, shape, or form, have power or have more power. So yeah, I would say Candace Owens is worse than Hassan Piker.
You're really gonna go that far? If you have to go that far back, that's not really a point in your favor, is it? So there is that. If you appreciate my content so far and wish to help ensure...
Yeah, that was a great video. That was an excellent video. Well done, Metatron. I'll go ahead and link this in the comments like I always do. At the end of the day, really, this was just an excuse to rag on Candace Owens. I can't stand that broad. I think that she is a huge net negative for the right. I think the faster the right denounces her, faster they stop giving her airtime, stop paying attention to her, the better off they'll be, because it's individuals like her that make normal right-wing people or normal Republicans look insane. When you've got this broad out here who just, again, blames, like someone said in the chat earlier, if it rains, it's Israel's fault. Like, that is so batshit insane, but she's been, promoted into these positions of power, into these positions of influence. People take her seriously, and they absolutely shouldn't. Like, she is no more relevant or intelligent than somebody like Ilhan Omar, right? So yeah, Candace Owens is a disgrace, and I cannot wait for her grift to fall through and for her to be excised from the community, because there's no need for that shit here. If there are people in the chat earlier that were saying that you think that she's a woke leftist cosplaying as a Christian conservative to ruin the movement, I don't believe that. I don't. I mean, again, that's never attribute to malice what can be more easily attributed to stupidity. I think she's just stupid. I do think she's a liar and she's a grifter, but I don't think she's a leftist. I think that she is just grifting, and people are buying into it because she's at least smart enough to know how to grift properly. And there are other stupid people that fall for it. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that one. As a tier 1 operator, I will say military spies with the job of the CIA does better. She's reached critical thought and entered ignorance. Yeah, there's no critical. She could be a plant. No, I don't think she's a plant. I don't think she's a plant. If she was a plant, she would have had a meteoric rise out of nowhere, like these Dean Withers and shit like that. She did slowly come up, and she fought to get where she was. So I don't think she's a plant. Yeah, she did used to run a doxing website. Yes, back during the OG Gamergate days. Alrighty. Let's move on to this next one. I have no idea what this is, but I found this fucking hilarious. We gotta take down this Nazi loser before he somehow Nazifies every other lonely dude in America. Ideally, the best way to do that is to give his audience a reason to leave their bedrooms and engage with IRL communities. Fucking Nazis. Nazi this, Nazi that. By all means, I love it. Keep calling people Nazis. Truly, keep calling people Nazis. The more you do it, every time you do it, it loses more and more meaning. And when a true Nazi regime eventually does rise up, like, for example, the actual Nazi regimes that we saw in Ukraine, it's not even gonna fucking mean anything anymore. Is she lying about the 3006? I guess I'm stupid. Again, I'm not saying she's lying about everything. I'm not saying that everything she says is wrong. What I'm saying is that she is grifting, she is lying, and the best scripts and the best lies are the ones that incorporate a little bit of truth. I mean, it should be very simple to suss out what she's wrong about or that she is grifting. And if you like her, if you watch her, hey, power to you. People can like and watch what they want to. That's fine by me. But yeah, no. I mean, I think Candace Owens is a fucking moron. If you can take somebody seriously that doesn't believe dinosaurs are real, that thinks that Elon Musk is a lizard person, and you know thinks that every single thing under the sun is Israel's fault, when, don't get me wrong, Israel bad, don't like Israel, but there are so many other factions as well. China, Russia, Ukraine, our own goddamn government, the World Economic Forum, shadow governments. I mean, that can't all be Israel, all right? You can't scapegoat everything to fucking Israel. So yeah, she's got more wrong than right, so I don't know why you would put trust in somebody like that. But you do you. Either way, I think of it the two-banger. I do truly appreciate that. Anyway, so this dude just throwing a fucking fit about Asmongold. Why? What did Asmongold say?
He's always been a racist, a bigot, a xenophobic, and Islamophobic.
All right, so I assume she's talking about Donald Trump. I could be right. Yeah, Trump's attack on Somali immigrants. Right. Donald Trump has always been a racist, a bigot, xenophobic, Islamophobic. All right, then why why was he so beloved and popular the world over until he ran as a Republican? Right? Like, tell me the dude's been in the public eye for 40 fucking years and everybody loved him until he ran for president. There's no stories from the 80s or the 70s or whatnot of him being, you know, racist and bigoted. Like, let's be real.
Whoever runs a campaign on taking parasites like this and kicking them out of our fucking country, I will vote for them.
Based.
I am so sick of these clowns that come here from foreign fucking countries, advocate for their own foreign fucking problems here, and then they call us racist when we say, what about America? This is outrageous.
Every single thing he just said is completely normal, rational, and what Americans have thought for the entirety of the existence of America. But he a Nazi. God, I'm gonna be real. You wanna know how we know Asmongold isn't a Nazi? Like, do you wanna know how we know that Asmongold isn't actually a Nazi? Because look at the guy. He got no style. I mean, I love Asmongold, but Asmongold got no style. You want to know what the Nazis had? Drip, son. The Nazis had drip. Let me just prove this to you right quick, right? Nazis. Images. Bro, look at them suits. Look at that posture, son. I mean, look. The Nazis got drip, bro. Asmongold looks homeless. He ain't a Nazi.
This is an insult. There's no such. Islamophobia is a made-up word that's invented to stop criticism of Islam.
And by the way, you should always criticize Islam. All day, every day, criticize any religion where the 60-year-old prophet took a 9-year-old wife. I think that's pretty fucking worthy of criticism.
Phobia. Islamophobia. Get the fuck out of here.
We know that he called African nations a shithole.
Because they are. They are shitholes. What are you talking about? You can see piles of bodies in satellites in the Sudan. That's a shithole. It is. It's a shithole. Like,
if it wasn't a shithole, right? If these African countries were a shithole, I'm curious. Like, I'm truly curious. Let's Resident Evil 5 Village. Screen. Let's see. You know, that's not got good quality. Let's. Oh no, not the village. Town, because the village probably gonna. All right, here we go. So this was created. This game was made in Japan. This is how Japan thinks of Africa. Why? This is a pretty fucking accurate depiction of lots of parts of Africa. Lots of parts of Africa. It's not just like racist Americans that think like this. There's a reason that even in 2008, Japan was like, Africa, this is where we're gonna set our game. This is what we're gonna make it look like. Even in video games, it looks like a shithole. What are we doing here? These places are fucking shitholes. They are. That's why everyone's trying to come here. Because they want to escape the shitholes.
What are we talking about? Are we going to pretend like it's not?
Nation's a shithole in his first administration. We know that when he came down that escalator, he said he was going to stop Muslim immigration into this country. And
he said that he stopped Muslim immigration from 7 countries at the beginning of his first presidency.
Which Obama did as well, by the way. Nobody talks about Obama's Muslim ban. If I recall, Obama actually banned it for like 13 countries, so even more. But I could be wrong on that one, to be fair.
That got denied, by the way. And there are more than 7 Muslim countries in the world. There's like 50-something. What are you even talking about?
So it is not surprising that he is going after black immigrants in this country. And it's certainly not surprising that he's choosing a black immigrant community that is also Muslim.
Of course, right? It's not because of the fraud. It's not because of the welfare levels. It's not because of anything else. It's actually because you're black. See, this is what people like this do, is that they constantly go and they fixate on identity. The fact is that nobody would be saying this if these people were contributing members of society. Nobody would be saying to us. Some people would be saying it, but I wouldn't be saying it.
No, to be fair, Matt Funcool, even those that are here legally, Trump is going after in terms of he wants to stop immigration, even legal immigration. He wants to put a moratorium on legal immigration from these shithole countries, which, by the way, I'm totally fucking fine with. All right? Even legal immigration has its limits, right? We can't just be accepting all these people all the time. Frankly, I would be good with a blanket moratorium on any immigration period for 5 to 10 years minus extenuating circumstances. Like, let's say you went abroad and you find yourself a nice, foreign girl and you fell in love with her and, like, you get married and whatnot. Like, unless there would obviously be exceptions, but by and large, I don't care if you come from Greece or France or Somalia or Uganda or South America or goddamned Antarctica. Blanket moratorium world over on immigration for the next 5 to 10 years. No fucks given.
The fact is that these people come to the country, they live off of our benefits, they are net negatives to the country, and we are subsidizing their lifestyle so they can live here and complain about it. It's ridiculous. This is a ridiculous insult to the country, and no other country in the world should ever expect to put up with this. You would never get away with this in China. You wouldn't get away with this probably in Japan even.
No, you wouldn't. Even though Japan is actually falling, and they are getting more and more open to it, and you have a lot of Japanese individuals. Again, when the young people in Japan were recently polled, this was like within the last 6 months or so, the Gen Z and millennials and whatnot of Japan, well, I don't know about the millennials, but the Gen Z of Japan, they were all pro, not all, but like statistically far more pro-immigration than their elder counterparts, than the Gen Xers, for example, because they don't understand what's going on. Again, the UK has fallen. France has fallen. I don't know how Spain's doing, but I can't imagine it's too terribly great. Zach's just recently went to Italy, and let me tell you, for some times, at least according to him, you wouldn't have believed he was in Italy with all the immigrants that were there. But no, Asmongold's right. 10, 20, 30 years ago, the vast majority of this would not have been put up with. And that's still the case in many of these other countries. You know good goddamn well Russia wouldn't put up with this shit. You know good goddamn well China wouldn't put up with this shit. Why we gotta look at these authoritarian, fascist, and or communist nations and be like, they're doing it right?
Wouldn't get away with this in Saudi Arabia. You wouldn't get away with this in Russia. You wouldn't get away with this.
Bingo. See? Right there. Bingo, bingo, bong. By the way, you're right. You wouldn't get away with this in Saudi Arabia. Now, it's kind of odd. You know, the Saudi Arabians and just the Middle Eastern in general. To be fair, less of them were coming from Saudi Arabia, but the Middle East in general, they're all coming here. But we know good goddamn well you couldn't go there. They wouldn't put up with that. But they're willing to send all their fucking terrorists over here.
There's probably some European countries you would, because they have this.
Communist nations? China, North Korea, Venezuela. The fuck you mean communist nations which? There's a lot of communist nations, dipshit.
Same problem that we do. But in a general sense, a lot of these countries, like you go to Vietnam, you wouldn't get away with this. This is outrageous. The level of entitlement that these people have is just unbelievable. It's crazy.
But what I would like to say is that most of us are citizens. On our passport, it says...
For now.
As we are nationals of this country, we love that Minnesota has welcomed.
You don't love this country. Don't even pretend for a fucking moment you love this country. If you love this country, you wouldn't be destroying it. If you love this country, you would put this country first. Alien Elmore straight up stated that she put Somalia before America. So no, you do not love this country. You do not deserve to be here. You should go. Dude, the fact of the matter is, you are in a government office. You are a statesman for this nation. And you have stated that you would put another nation first. You should be stripped of your position. Like that is tantamount to sedition as far as I'm concerned. If not treason, but definitely sedition.
Many of us have
big mistake, by the way, should have never made them citizens.
Not been settled in Minnesota. We chose it as a home because the Minnesota people and the state is beautiful and very...
Do I agree that Japan got beautiful women? Dude, Asian broads are beautiful. However, they are squeaky in bed. I ain't got that Asian fetish like a lot of people. I did when I was younger. Then once you sleep with an Asian, you realize, holy fuck, they are annoying. Like, all the sounds and shit they make in hentai, that's not just for the fucking hentai. That's what they actually sound like. So yeah, nah, dude. My Asian days is behind me. Like, they are beautiful to look at. But they are annoying as fuck in bed.
Welcoming, and we are going to be here regardless of what the president has to say.
No, just undo it. Just undo it. Yeah, that's it. Well, free handouts, deport them. Yep, doesn't matter to me. Absolutely. She might be the worst. Yeah, I think so. And settled in Minnesota, so they're settlers. I guess so, right? And because
by the way, no. Not all Asian women are beautiful, right? Not all Asian women are beautiful. Look at Nina Lynn. Nina Lynn is fucking busted, bro. Nina Lynn is chopped as fuck. So we can't just be like all Asian women and whatnot, dude. Now, I had this buddy in high school. Name was Ryan. And he was with this Asian bitch. Now, mind you, she grew up here in America. Like, she was American, but like, she was American Asian. She had Asian parents. They migrated over here. That's why her name was fucking Teresa. But anyway... she was a fat Asian, right? And I know you don't see too many of them, but she was a fat Asian. Let me tell you, not all Asian women are beautiful. A lot of them are, not all of them.
Had the best benefits? Yeah, of course, because Minnesota's giving them money. And it's very fucking obvious, isn't it? I mean, I feel like that's clearly what's happening. And anyone can be a citizen now, a way to devalue it. I mean, it's not really about that. It's just about a general sense of these people coming into the country and then being a drain on the country. Like, it's literally that's...
It's not even about them being a drain on the country, mind you. Like, there are individuals in this country that were born here that are drains on the country. There are also people that need help with these social systems and whatnot, and that's what food stamps are for. That's what WIC is for. You know, all these social services. It's about the fact that they will not integrate. They do not have American values. They do not understand the concept of American values. I've talked ad nauseum, ad length, about my best friend Aaron, and the fact that his wife migrated here from China when she was 15. They're in their 30s now, and guess what? She's as American as anyone else. Down home, you know, Midwestern girl, lives, I guess she'd actually be more southern, lives in Arkansas, but even so, good fucking Christian girl, been here since she was 15, she identifies with American values. I don't even know if she still has Chinese citizenship. I could be wrong, she might be dual citizen, but I don't think she does. Either way, the point is, you know, she's all in, First Amendment, Second Amendment, Third Amendment, goes on and on. So yeah, you want to come here, you want to integrate, you want to be American, put America first, American ideals, American values, fucking go for it. Couldn't care less. Now, not anymore, because like I said, worldwide moratorium on immigration minus exceptions for the next 5-10 years. I wouldn't give a fuck.
Simple. So, yeah, people try to turn this into a race and a religious thing, and I'm sure for some people it is, but for me it's not. It's you're coming in here, you don't like the country, you want to change everything, you want it to be more like the shithole you came from, and it is a shithole, by the way. It's absolutely a shithole. You don't even have Google Maps on there. Like, it's a fucking PvP server. And now you come here and you bring the same ideology, the same shit here, and people do a protest in Michigan and they're getting assaulted. It's crazy. I don't know what, like, I hate these people, bro. I really do. Like, they come to our country and do this shit.
Well, to be fair, it's not even Michigan anymore. It's Michiganistan. Like, Dearborn? The fuck's even Dearborn? Do we even need Dearborn? Bro, at this point, I am praying Godzilla comes specifically for Dearborn. Then he's like, fuck this shit, I'm out. We don't need it anymore. I know we're going to have some casualties in the process. I know we're going to lose some good people, but we don't fucking need Dearborn anymore. In Minecraft, obviously joking. Godzilla's not fucking real, YouTube.
And then they call us racist as if the problem is your skin color. No, it's what you're doing. It's outrageous. The level of manipulation. And I'm glad to see that very few people are still buying into the racism wool over their eyes.
What do you mean very few people are buying into it? Dude, we just had record Democrat wins during those recent elections just 3 weeks ago. No, people are still buying into it. Absolutely. That's why we have, Mom Donnie in New York, because people are still buying into it. Man, what a fucking frame to pause on. Asmongold about to get that meat. Ugh. Anyway, but yeah, no, absolutely people are still buying into it. And to be fair, it's the right's fault. It's the Republicans' fault. It's Donald Trump's fault. If you guys would be doing the shit you said you were gonna do, instead of sending all your goddamn money to Israel, wouldn't be in this mess. If you released the goddamn Epstein files and exposed the pedophiles that run the fucking world, you wouldn't be in this mess. But here you are. So you know what? You get what you fucking deserve.
Oh, well, we're not going to listen to this, and it's not that bad. No, man. Like, nobody gives a shit about that word anymore. It's so obnoxious. Aren't they racist too, though? Of course they're racist. They're absolutely racist.
It's not that radical Democrats won in already blue areas. It's how much they won by. There was a distinct crossover between people who voted for Donald Trump and people who voted for Mamdani. And the reason is because they buy into populist narratives. To be fair, populism is good. I'm not knocking populism. I think populism is actually a great thing to run on. But the point is, when people appeal to populism, you get easily swayed people from the left or the right to jump ship to the other side. So it's not about the fact that they won. Yeah, that was likely a given. It's by how much they won. To pretend that Mamdani did not get a large portion of the Trump vote would be asinine. For the same reason that Trump got a large portion of the Bernie Sanders vote back in 2016. After fucking Bernie Sanders got butt-fucked by the DNC, a lot of Bernie bros jumped ship and voted for Trump. Why? Because despite policy differences, he had the same populist message. Yeah. So, I mean, I agree with Asmongold pretty much 100% here. I think the issues go even deeper than he's about to say, but I agree with him in theory, in principle. So yeah, we gotta take down this Nazi loser before nothing of what he said had Nazi ideology to it. Not in the slightest. Not, in fact, again, let's use ultra leftist communist Google Nazi definition. Remember the far-right National Socialist? Yeah, far-right socialist. You know, let's just do what I did before where it said Nazi, because it brought us... Alright. Form of fascism characterized by extreme nationalism, belief in superior to the Aryan race, virulent hatred for those deemed inferior. At no point did Asmongold say anyone was inferior. He said their countries are. Let's be real. Their countries are. Doesn't mean that people inherently are. Particularly Jewish people. And you hear him say anything about that. Other targeted groups include Roma and Sinti, disabled individuals, and homosexuals. I mean... Asmongold's very pro-disabled and homosexual people. Ideology also prompted the need for living space for the German people, which fueled expansionist foreign policy. Excuse me. So yeah, by definition, none of what Asmongold said was in any way, shape, or form Nazism. None whatsoever. And that is a very good lead-in to this right here. Deport all illegals. Alright, let's see what's up.
Here's what you are expected to contribute. That's what evangelizing was, letting people know, hey, this is the new program and these are the benefits.
Well, words evolve over time, and we shouldn't necessarily...
Well, I'm just using that as an example. That's how all nations... Oh, take a walk real quick. Okay, all right. Sorry,
yeah,
it means that there's something...
Go for it.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Look at this fucking loser YouTube gloop. Well, when I'm out here giving a right-wing opinions... Oh, man, it's Nazi. Well, but when I'm clowning on Candace Owens, or when I'm clowning on Crowder, even though I'm likely going to actually agree with a lot of his points, he's all for it. You literally, you are a slave to your ideology. You have no concept of nuance. My God, I truly weep for you. But by all means, stick around. Keep giving me the engagement. You being here, run up the view time, keep typing in the chat, gives me the engagement. I'm all for that. But just know, you are a fucking idiot.
Nice to meet you.
Okay, nice to meet you, sir. All right.
Very nice.
Okay. So last month, I traveled to Oklahoma University for the latest installments of...
Gross. Oklahoma University? As somebody who, you know, has lived a lot of time in Oklahoma, you ain't gonna find anyone of any intellectual worth here, Crowder.
Change My Mind, where I tackled 2 new topics, deporting all the illegals and canceling SNAP. You can find those videos in the description. But today...
Some fucking loser sat down with Crowder in a fucking furry mask. Guys, we're cooked. Like, we are fucking cooked. Jesus Christ. Hopefully he got a name. Someone check this motherfucker's hard drive.
Today, I have a bonus piece of content. And I say bonus because it was cut short due to some behind-the-scenes security issues we had to deal with, and after which I had to be escorted. But it also showcases a very interesting conversation with, I will say, a kind and thoughtful student about what it means to actually be an American. Because that's something we gloss past when we're talking about immigration and a lot of policies. What is it that makes one American?
I don't respect furries either, Netflix foreign. I don't respect furries in the slightest. I honestly, I might, and this is a might, I'd have to really think about it. I might respect legal Somali immigrants more than furries. Because at least they know what they're about, right? At least they know what they're about. They're still disgusting, but at least they know what they're about.
And can someone be more American or less? Leave your thoughts in the comments below and enjoy this bonus installment of Change My Mind, where, spoiler, I live at the end. What's your name, by the way?
I'm Gabriel.
Gabriel, nice to meet you. Gabriel, Steve, sorry.
No, you're so...
I got dry mouth talking all day, so after this...
No, I get it. Y'all been having a good time?
Yeah, it's been nice.
Looks like a nice guy. I will say, He got a serious case of Toriyama eyebrow. He and Ben Shapiro got that in common. Dude got a serious case of Toriyama eyebrow.
You like OU?
It's funny, my only experience with OU was in jiu-jitsu, and a guy who was All-American, and I think he was actually national champion, NCAA champion, suplexed me and concussed me. There are levels to this.
Yeah, I wrestled.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, for like 10 years.
I mean, I know Oklahoma State is the school, but this guy was awesome. So I was like, I hate OU. But yeah, no, it's my brother has lived in Oklahoma, so.
Oh, that's cool.
How long have you been going here?
This is my 3rd year.
Okay.
I've lived in Norman my entire life.
Okay, what are you studying?
Industrial engineering.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at that. We got somebody in here who's going for like an actual fucking degree. Not some useless degree that will mean nothing. In fact, already means nothing.
Fun.
Well, it's all probably relevant to the H-1B conversation because I mean, it's going to be a little competitive for you.
I want to go to grad school
okay.
Because I just really enjoy research and all that stuff, and so yeah, that's a big conversation.
I can imagine.
A lot of foreign nationals coming here.
Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah, we've talked about that quite a bit. We can touch on that too if you want to. Just kind of it's I've got to imagine. How old are you?
I'm 19.
19. Yeah, got to be daunting. Kind of looking at when people talk about boomers not really fully appreciating it, and I go, sure.
You say he's in his 3rd year. He's 19. Homie must be somewhat intelligent. 'Cause that would mean he got here. He got here early. Graduated high school early.
People can make better financial decisions, and I think that a lot of young people don't, but they don't really take into account the competitive nature of the job marketplace. It's quite a bit different from what it used to be.
Especially right now. I mean, I have a lot of friends. Just last night, I was with a couple seniors that are graduating this semester and just discussing the job market in general.
Yeah.
It's difficult right now.
I can only imagine. Well, I didn't run into that because I was an idiot who they said world needs grave diggers too, and then I did stand-up comedy and went about it the other way. I did 2 semesters of college, but well, you wrestled, so did they call you like the Griffin? Like, here comes the Griffin!
No, they didn't do all that. I mean, you know how it is wrestling. It's a little less.
To be fair, he looks more like the Pixie. Here comes the Pixie. He got a very Pixie vibe to him.
It's showmanship like than most of the stuff you see on TV.
Yeah, they don't like the showboating. No. Often, I know in wrestling, you get the nickname you don't want. So, yeah.
For whatever reason, my entire high school team called me Gabby.
Hey, to be fair, I mean, I've seen a lot of small dudes wrestle. Roman. Like the idea of wrestling, obviously there's weight classes and whatnot for a reason, but I mean, it's more just about understanding physics than it is about being a big dude.
Like as in Gabrielle.
Yeah, and if you show that you don't like it, that's what you get.
That's what I got for 2 years.
Like we have a guy here, I don't know, he's a, former special forces, but he loves filet. Oh, yeah. So I call him Tenderloin. And he hates it.
But that's just what it is.
I'm like, dude, it's an ironically scary nickname.
Slightly Asian John Lennon.
That's too soft. Good. He must be crazy. But, all right, well, Gabriel, I don't know how familiar you are at all with kind of the series, if at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, you know how familiar you are at all with kind of the series, if at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I
could not understand what he said there. One more time.
At all with kind of the series, if at all.
Yeah.
Okay. So,
fuck it, I got nothing. We'll just keep going.
I just always try and clarify with people what it's not, because this was started 10 years ago, close to it, before the kind of debate bro culture and before YouTube Shorts was a thing. Yeah. It's not designed to be gotcha, score points, dunk. We really do try and have discussions in good faith, even on controversial topics, hopefully proving that we can have them even if we disagree. And that being said, today obviously is a hot button issue. We've been talking about it quite a bit. I believe that in the year 2025, certainly where we find ourselves at this impasse with our immigration issues, deport all illegal aliens. And if you disagree with that, you're more than welcome to change my mind.
Okay. To be clear, is that black and white and sort of, like, is that your entire point of view, or is it more nuanced? Do you have more?
Well, obviously it's more nuanced. I can't fit it on a sign, but that's the starting point.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the starting point.
By the way, it is not more nuanced. Deport all illegals, stamp yes. Yeah, because if you are here illegally, that means you broke the law to come here. Outski, gone. Outie like 4 circles. There needs to be no nuance. You can get into the nitty gritty and like where to start and work your way down. No, all illegals gone. Blanket statement. Yes.
I think we've tried it the other way forever, going back to, well before it, but Reagan granting amnesty to 3 million. The number's increased by 450% since then. We've been lenient. The cost is astronomical. Crime in many of the sanctuary cities is out of control. And I also think, look, a big difference now, considering the number, the sheer influx in the last decade. I think Americans have the right to want to preserve a culture here where they're footing the bill as taxpayers to feel like strangers in their own town, where they don't have...
Again, Dearborn, Michigan. Let's just say it again. Dearborn, Michigan.
Common language, common culture, common values. So all of that, yeah, I think the starting off point is we're going to be hardline on it.
Okay. Well, thanks for sharing that with me. I guess immediately, what do you see as the immediate cost of immigration? You bring up how it can cost the American taxpayer. What's your opinion on that?
So, well, here, and also so you don't take my word for it. You can take that to check any references.
Oh, I appreciate that.
Because I know, especially at school, people
we talk about grad school, reference to everything.
Yes, yeah, and we do that every day on the show, by the way, because it really bothers me when people just make claims like, well, where'd you get that? My brother. So it costs, the estimate is $150 billion to $450 billion a year, taxpayers. People say, well, I'm not saying that no illegal aliens pay taxes. That's not what I'm saying. The offset is about 17%. It offsets, so including the number of people who pay taxes, all of it, the total number is $150 to $450 billion. That's significant. The cost of deporting illegal aliens, if we were to take the high number in the last...
Would I do debates like this? Well, to be fair, this isn't really a debate. This is a conversation. Like, I use the word debate, and a lot of people throw the word debate around. Debate is a structured event, right? You come in, and there's different types of debates and whatnot, but by and large, you've more or less got structure to it. You come in, you do opening statement, you do cross-ex, you do closing statements, or you do opening statement, someone comes in, they have 2 minutes speak, they go back and forth with 2-minute time limits, no interrupting, then you do closing statements. The point is, debate is something that is, there's an art to it. It is its own sport. So I do not consider this debate. This is open forum, open discussion. This is dialogue. Now, would I do stuff like this? Yeah, I would. I absolutely would. The thing is, I've been offered to do stuff like this by other channels, and every single time they are channels smaller than mine who I know are not operating in good faith because I've watched them do it with other channels. And they don't follow any sort of proper structure. Lots of times are just using it for, clout or clicks. So if somebody approached me and they were in good faith, they weren't doing it as just a way to, again, clout farm or click farm. If it was, unedited, yeah, I absolutely would. And I have in the past. I've gone on like Zach's show and debated a dude. It wasn't a debate. It was me just drinking and clowning on him because I didn't take him seriously to begin with. For me, it was more of a fun session, just to roast a guy. But that's neither here nor there. Like, would I do this? Yes. Have I been in a position where this was offered in a way that made logistical sense to do? No, not really. Yeah, exactly. Netflix Florida, because their goal is to humiliate you. I love debate. I was on the debate team in high school. I find it to be, again, it is a legitimate art form. But most people don't look at it as such. Most people confuse debate with argument, and they're not the same.
4 years. Number's probably closer to 15 million. Let's call it 12 million. But if we were to deport 20 million illegal aliens, right now, costs $17,000 per illegal alien. These are estimates. It would cost you about billion. If I said million, I meant billion in all these instances. Okay. 300-something billion dollars, $340 billion, $360 billion to deport them. You'd end up effectively saving money within the year, call it a year and a half.
So that's including making ICE the largest federally funded law enforcement organization?
You can put that in your pocket, but you can keep it. Yeah, we have plenty. Yeah. Yes. That's including all of it. Yep. Okay. That's including the cost of self-deportations as well, versus having to chase people down and deport them, all of it.
Okay. So, with the fact that, I'm not entirely educated on the exact statistics, though we all understand that statistics, like anything, you can use to lie.
Sure.
Not that you're doing that, just that we should be cognizant of the type of statistics that we're quoting and all those sorts of things.
Yes.
So far, I like this guy. I want to hear more of his thoughts, more of his opinions. I don't know where I'm going to be in terms of whether I agree with him or whatnot. But, he's receptive to listening. He's not interrupting. He is doing a good job of questioning the information. I think this is going to be a good one. What up, Tiger King?
But the IRS allows you to pay taxes without a SSN, a social security number. And, for example, they want you to. They'll track you down even if you're, not, you know what I mean?
Well, they'll track you down. They'll go up here, Heine, with a sigmoidoscope. In my case, they use an IMAX wide-angle lens.
So oh, that's right. You're from Canada? No?
I'm born in Detroit, but yeah, spent a lot of time in Canada.
Okay, so I'm just vaguely remembering things.
I'm ashamed of it. It's a horrible place.
Yeah, I don't know much about it. I've never been, honestly.
You're better off.
Okay.
But yeah, so the IRS, you're saying they can track you whether you...
And you know, so Matt says, I imagine this is the only good one. And honestly, I do prefer the dialogues like this than the like, oh, Crowder Rex, dumb libtard 19-year-old girl, whatever. Like, those are funny. But it is more intellectually stimulating to see two calm, measured individuals having a dialogue when they disagree. I find that to be a much more interesting way to go about these. I find them to be much more interesting for viewership. I find them to be much more interesting to commentate on and have dialogue with you guys in chat about. Yeah, this is, even though this likely won't be one of the funny ones, this is the sort of shit that I want to see more of.
Have a social security number or not.
Okay, so you're of the opinion, with statistics back it up, that there are just millions of illegal aliens not paying taxes?
Yes.
Okay. I suppose, could you inform me as to why?
Well, the numbers bear it out. Mm-hmm. And here's the other problem. It actually isn't fully
true.
true.
How those things were...
yeah, so again, this is... And the reason that this really sticks in my mind is because when I did a change of mind on building the wall a long time ago, the number was about 116 billion per year. The lowest estimate you'll find is 150 billion. Mm-hmm. People say sales tax. I understand. So do Americans pay sales tax.
Yes.
But accounting for the income revenue that we actually see having to... And here's also the problem, too, right? Like you said, these have to be... That's why I give you a pretty wide range.
Yeah.
Because when you're dealing with people who are not only not on the books, but are incentivized to stay off the books, and even more, the employers are incentivized to...
And to be fair, Paul's a good debater. Paul's a good debater. He says, I've only defeated Dillian on debates a few times. And to be fair, he's more than a few times. Paul's a good debater. He's buttering me up. Nah, don't sell yourself short.
Keep them off the books as a result of policy. It's difficult to track. But you'd be hard-pressed to find someone say that it's a net benefit to the American taxpayer, illegal aliens.
Okay, that's a fair point. Yeah. And you also bring up the fact that American culture, that this we bring in all these illegal immigrants.
Yes.
And it sort of devalues American culture.
Yeah.
Do you think that you talked about Ronald Reagan earlier. You've heard his quote that the only thing that defines an American is a willingness to come to this country, and anybody can become an American.
Can become an American, yeah. Yes. That's the important part of that quote.
So you think definitionally what becomes an American is assimilation to our culture?
So yeah.
Yes. I that is the numero uno prerequisite for becoming an American. Like, there has to be an assimilation into this culture. And assimilating in this culture doesn't just mean, like, being nice to your neighbors. Doesn't mean, eating American food. At the fundamental level, an acceptance of American culture means understanding the concepts and the truths behind our Constitution, what freedom means, but also the responsibility. Because, yes, just because you have the freedom to do something does not mean that you should do that thing. What part of being an American, at least in theory, is knowing you have the freedom to do something, but if it is a bad thing to do, choosing the harder or less optimal route, using your freedom to choose the harder or potentially less optimal route for the greater good of you, of others, and whatnot. Like, I have the freedom to walk into a barbershop right now, look at a 9-year-old kid, and call him a fucking loser. Say your mother doesn't love you. Say that you should have been aborted. I have the freedom to do that. As an American, I have the responsibility not to do that. That is American culture.
I think that if I see someone who's here, who's sending money back to the country they claim to flee and they don't speak the common language, I view them as less American.
Okay, so because most of those people are supporting their parents, which is really common in a lot of other cultures.
Yep.
And you disagree with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, again, we have to look out for the best interests of Americans. I don't know if I'm sure that you know this to some degree, and you'll find out in the workforce, but a lot of Americans are struggling. Mm-hmm. There's over 7.5 million Americans, 7.4 depending on the year, looking for jobs. They're willing to do the jobs that are being imported at cheaper wages. Mm-hmm. They're struggling. A country needs to look out for the best interests of its citizens, as all of these other countries do.
Yes.
The immigration laws are
I disagree with that. I disagree with Crowder's take there. I do not think it's part of the... Well, so... It is the government's job to look out for the best interests of its citizens, in a sense. However, oftentimes the best interest of the citizen is for the government to leave them the fuck alone. to do as little as possible because the government sucks at everything. Bureaucracy is America didn't invent bureaucracy, but we sure as fuck perfected it. So yes, no, like while I agree in theory with what he's saying, the best way to watch it, to look out for your citizens, is to do as little as possible. Futurama got this great episode, right? Futurama got this great episode where Bender meets God. Right? Bender gets shot up into space, he gets lost in space, and he runs into God in space. And when Bender and God are having these conversations, Bender asks him an excellent question as to, like, you know, how does it work being God, hearing everybody's prayers, hearing everybody's wants, everybody's needs, being able to do stuff, choosing what to do, what not to do. And in the episode, God gives, yeah, you say best episode, it's one of my favorite episodes. It's actually a very theologically incredible episode to anybody that, like, you know, studies theology. God, and in the episode, God gives a brilliant answer. Speaking as a deity, he says, if you do things right, the people won't be sure if you've done anything at all. And, like, while I agree with that concept at a theological level, I agree with that at a governmental level as well. If you do things right, the people won't know you've done anything at all. Now, the question comes down to what is right, because the government does a whole lot of shady shit that they don't want us to know about, that is right for them, because it's going to enrich them, and that's obviously not what we mean here. We mean for the benefit of the populace, but you get my point.
Far more harsh in Mexico. Far more harsh, for example, in Japan and Korea and even many South American countries. India had an official language being English, one of many before the...
Yes, it's the government's responsibility to make sure we don't kill each other, but it's not the responsibility to take care of us. Right, the government's only responsibility is effectively to make sure that our rights are being protected.
United States. So, yeah, that's not a benefit to the American taxpayer. Someone coming here, working a job that an American would do, to send money to another country is not something, that's not building a country, that's taking from. That's my opinion.
Well, I mean, you bring up Japan and Korea, and those are really great examples of extremely xenophobic countries that dislike people that have been not considered nationalists.
Including each other.
And by the way, xenophobia is not a bad thing. I'm gonna say it right now, because so many people don't know the definition of xenophobia as well. This is another one of the things that's lumped in with racist and whatnot. Xenophobic definition: a dislike or a prejudice of people from other countries. Okay? That is not inherently a bad thing. If you've got a country whose morals and values are fundamentally opposite to your own, to have a dislike for those people is healthy, right? We should be xenophobic towards the Middle East because they have no concept. In fact, based on the way they've been brainwashed, they have an outright rejection of American values. That is healthy xenophobia. Okay, if a country or a people's base moral values are contradictory, especially in a dangerous way, to your own, xenophobia is probably pretty fucking healthy, because that is a protection against, for you and your people. If you are xenophobic toward these people who are blatantly opposite yourself, that is a defense mechanism against those people.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Korea and Japan.
But I didn't just bring them up. I bring up Mexico.
Yeah, I mean,
I can't own waterfront property in Mexico if I go there.
But yeah, happy to hear it. Jimmy Yu says my recap came out and Leon was in my top channels list. You love to see it. All y'all are legends that have me in your top channels list.
Illegally.
Yes.
I can't protest.
The reason I bring up those two, and you could include Mexico as well, is I think the United States is distinctively better because we have so many people not from this country working within it. We have greater ideas. We have, for example...
What he's bringing up is not inherently anti-xenophobic, right? Or is not bad even if we're xenophobic, I should say. So... we have all these other people coming in, right? He says, hey, we've got these people with different ideas and whatnot. We all motherfucking love Chinese food. Chinese food pretty goddamn good. If we were xenophobic, hypothetically, you'd think we'd be against Chinese food. But no. So what happened? Yeah, Chinese people come over here during the Gold Rush era. They, when they were working along the railroads, they were working along the rail lines, and they were paid like shit. And so they started selling their Chinese food to people who were, working on the railroad as well. And, guess what happens when they do that? They start to understand freedom and capitalism. They start to like that, and they keep having babies, and their kids grow up here. The list goes on. So, needless to say, you can when these people come in and they assimilate, they become American. So you can be xenophobic to these other countries, these other nations, while accepting people of different ethnic backgrounds into your country, and if they assimilate properly. So that's like hating somebody because, you know, they're Asian or whatnot. You know, you got that racist. You could even say, you know, xenophobic if it's a particular type of Asian, like Chinese or whatnot. However, if somebody of China, you know, some of this, you know, Chinese or whatever comes here, such as, again, my buddy Aaron's wife, and she assimilates into the culture, you could still be xenophobic towards China, but be completely acknowledge that she is an American because she has assimilated and upholds American ideals.
Well, I said that I was interested in graduate school and that I've spoken with a lot of those people. A lot of graduate students aren't from this country.
Sure.
And without question, that makes every single graduate program with non-Americans in it better for it, because they have to be so much better than us to get into these programs.
Not always.
No, that's not true. But, well, okay, let's see what Crowder has to say before I give my 2 cents.
In my experience, which is, you know,
not always
relative to
and there are also a lot of people who are, you know, there are these degree mills. India is largely the epicenter of this, where there are fraudulent degrees and there are placing firms that take money off the top, and they come in, they're not any more qualified, they're not any more skilled. I have no problem with someone coming to this country legally and wanting to pursue an education and becoming an American. We have
Not only that, I got, you know, no problem with someone doing that, and you know, because America, in theory, should have the best education. However, we're severely lacking nowadays. So if somebody comes over here, you know, and first of all, again, in the Department of Education, that's awesome. But yeah, if somebody comes over here and they, you know, want to be educated and then and then are indoctrinated by our leftist, communist, Yuri Bezmenov implanted through, you know, actual cultural Marxism fucking teachers, and they become a threat to the United States, yeah, that's a problem.
Those processes that exist. But that's not all the immigrants that we're seeing right now. And an issue for me, when you have a shared value system, we have a shared common language, and a shared specific value in contributing and building a country. So you say a lot of different points of view. Yeah, let's take, for example, like when people think immigrants, they'll often think like Ellis Island, you know, that's sort of like Italians and the Irish, and they might have disagreed, but the truth is people coming from Italy, Ireland, Germany, Poland, take your pick, they came here, right, only a nickel in their pocket, at great risk to themselves, at no benefit. As a matter of fact, they left often the creature comforts and sort of a social safety net, in some cases of the previous country, at risk to themselves, but the promise of freedom. That's the only thing promised here that wasn't promised anywhere else. Well, the benefit was freedom.
Okay. I'm glad the dude called Crowder out on that, because I was about to say, well, no, there was a huge benefit. Okay, good. That was because when Crowder says with no benefit, no bullshit. There's a reason they were coming here. It's because of the benefit. Benefit being freedom. Benefit being opportunity. Benefit being where we are at right now is a larger risk, or if not, maybe not necessarily a larger risk than going to America, but it's a risk-reward scenario where they weigh the options and found that it is more beneficial to take that chance.
Not EBT, not Social Security, not going into an emergency room and not paying the bill. Not that. There's a huge difference between immigrating pre-welfare state and post-welfare state. And so it needs to be the value of building and contributing to a country. And if people don't meet that criteria...
Well, not even that. Actually, I would disagree with Crowder. In a sense. Like, he is correct on a technical sense, but, like, it's about the building and whatnot for yourself to make your life and the lives of your family and whatnot better, but that can only be done by also assimilating into the country and by upholding the country's better moral values, moral stances, ideologies, and when you contribute to that, it will, as a byproduct, make your life better. Now, again, he's right that this needs to be done. This was pre-welfare state, because now people can abuse that system, and people do often abuse that system. But, like, the idea should be, I should contribute to this country because doing so will benefit me. Selfish as that might sound, doesn't matter. People in life are always looking out for numero uno. And that's just the way of that's just the human way.
They serve none of the American people's best interests.
Well, I mean, you talk about coming here for EBT or other benefits. And the just simple fact is that a lot of these things existed. You talk about welfare state. 1930s.
As a broad term, yeah.
Yeah. We still saw immigration throughout the 50s and 60s, and it really hasn't become this hot and button issue until recently. And so what necessarily changed? And just to say more...
It's very easy to say what changed. America stopped, having jobs. Our economy collapsed. We started shipping our jobs overseas. We started, outsourcing to China, outsourcing to India. The factories closed down. I mean, we had. It's very obvious that we were a much more insular economy during the 1920s, 30s, 40s, 50s, when we had all this immigration, so we could afford that social safety net. Now, resources in those social safety nets are being depleted faster than they can be recouped. So, I mean, that's the obvious answer.
Specifically, that a lot of the people that come here to work jobs aren't getting from degree mills.
Some aren't. No, I know.
No, I know. But a lot
there'd
of them
be no
go
way
to
of
like
correcting it.
IIT Bombay, for example, a very good school.
Some.
That a lot of them in graduate programs at the very least that are receiving doctorates here in this country, which is a large that's a great example of an industry which heavily relies on immigrants.
Which industry?
Graduate education.
Yeah, graduate education. So graduate education at large, regardless of area of study?
I suppose I can only speak into engineering.
Okay.
Specifically industrial engineering.
Okay.
But we see a lot of immigrants.
So you don't think there are enough Americans who could do those jobs capably that we need to import them?
I don't know, but I know for a fact that if I get beat out for a spot in that education, it's not because I wasn't qualified.
Really? You don't think that if you get beat out for that position, it's because you weren't qualified? Let me show y'all something. Just want a quick reminder. Guy who was accepted into college for writing Black Lives Matter over and over. 2017, teen was accepted to Stanford after writing hashtag Black Lives Matter 100 times on application. Now, I good goddamn guarantee you, he was not more qualified than you. He got in because of politics. He got in because of social stigmas. He got in because of ideology. So when you say you're sure that doesn't happen, bullshit.
It's not because they were less qualified than me.
What if you get beat out in the job force just because someone will do it cheaper? Like 30-40% because they come from a third world country where that's acceptable to them.
Well, that's just capitalism for you, I suppose.
It's not, though.
You don't just
No, it's not.
Okay, so what?
It's not if someone is coming and they're sending their money back to a country that doesn't serve the American. No, it does, especially too. There'd be no way of verifying, right? That's the issue. There's no way of verifying if it's legitimate. And I think we would agree, the employers who turn a blind eye, you've created a modern class of slave labor. You can go to neighborhoods here where you'll find 16 families living in a house, taking a job that an American would do for much lower wages. A commission is taken off the top from one of these placement firms, and Americans are out of work. You can't tell me that there aren't enough Americans who will do jobs in tech in Palo Alto or engineering. I know we have brilliant minds here. You seem to be one of them. And I guess the question would become, what do you believe the criteria should be? Because now we've gone from illegal aliens, but I think this is a good conversation. What do you think the criteria should be for someone to be given that golden ticket of American citizenship or green card?
I think the idea of a golden ticket for Americans, when I say that, I mean that American citizenship is such great ideal. It should be more accessible. And that's a large issue I feel with a lot of the...
No, it should be the hardest thing in the fucking world. It should not in any way, shape, or form be more accessible, right? When things are made more accessible, they become bland, they become watered down, they become susceptible to infestation from the lowest common denominator, right? There's a reason. Immigrating to Canada, becoming a Canadian citizen, historically, was super fucking difficult. Immigrating to Japan, becoming a Japanese citizen, super fucking difficult. You can say this for any first world country. I say first world in quotes because Canada ain't no fucking first world country. Not anymore, at least. Anyway, the point is, there's a reason it's a several year, like sometimes up to 10-year, a decade-long process of becoming a legitimate citizen for these countries. Because they don't want the riffraff, they don't want the rabble, because they know that is a poison. Why would America be any different? It should not be easy. No, by the way, nothing in life worth doing is easy. Not at all. If you have found something to be easy to do, then it really wasn't worth it to do. Because anyone can do it. There's no challenge. And if there's no challenge, there's no sense of growth. There's no sense of accomplishment once you overcome whatever it is you overcome, if it was something simple. So no, becoming an American should be the hardest fucking thing in the world to do, regardless of where you come from, regardless of your skin color. That way, the people that come here, that do make it through that test, are the best of the best of the motherfucking best.
Idea of illegal immigration is our broken immigration system, and I don't feel that that's necessarily a hot take, you could say.
No, can you point me to any other example? Because I think we agree that it's an unbelievable, the citizenship or green card is a value, right? You're saying...
if something is easy to do, you're probably not doing it properly. Not necessarily, Solantis. Not necessarily. Like, there are things that come easy to people. People have natural talents. Soccer came very easy to me, dude. I was a fucking... Dude, I was a soccer star from the day I started playing. I was a forward, #1 scoring on my team. The very first year I ever played, my team went 10-0. We won every game that season. To the point that by the time high school hit, like, soccer was boring, and I was doing all the drills, I was going to practice, but, like, I was no longer feeling a sense of accomplishment, because it was second nature. It just had a fucking natural talent. Leon must be able to run very well. Oh, yeah, I was a track star in high school. I might still have records at my high school track. I mean, it's been fucking 15 years. That shit could have possibly been broken by now. Likely has been broken. But yeah, no, I was fast. Yeah, I was able to run very well. I was able to run for a very long period of time. The point is, soccer became relatively boring. Now, I went into theater at the same time, was still on the soccer team, was still on the track team, also did theater. That was much more difficult. Learning how to act, learning how to debate, doing set design and set work and all the stuff that came with it was much more difficult, and therefore doing theater became much more interesting to me because it was a new skill. It was something I had to learn as opposed to like something that came second nature. The point is, just because something is easy doesn't necessarily mean you're not doing it properly, because soccer was easy for me out the gate, but I was definitely doing it properly. Your boy was fucking good at playing soccer.
Golden ticket. I use that, it's hyperbole, but I think you agree with it. Can you give me an example where something else that is intensely valuable, its value is maintained or increased by making it cheaper or available to all with lower standards? Where else do we do that?
What's a false equivalency? Citizenship has value because the people here make it great, and it's not a commodity that we're selling.
No, it absolutely is a commodity. Now, it's not necessarily a commodity that we're selling, but it is a commodity, right? It is something that can be bought and traded, you know? You can trade your citizenship of your previous country for citizenship here, and you're doing it based on factors that you think will improve your wealth, improve your well-being, improve your lot in life, your situation, which at the end of the day is there is a physical benefit. It could be a financial benefit. It could be an emotional and mental benefit. But the point is, there is a value on it. Just because the value isn't inherently monetary doesn't mean it's not a commodity, right? When you play fucking, you know, maybe not Fallout, 'cause Fallout uses, you know, actually, we'll still use any sort of like post-apocalyptic video game. Fallout has caps, so it's not quite the same. But when you play like Oregon Trail, right, or a semi or civilization game, and you buy and trade in goods as opposed to money, those still have value. They've got value that's perceived by both the person doing the trading and the person being traded to. And citizenship for any country, but we're talking about America here, is the exact same way. There is a value to it. Why would somebody come here versus where they're at if the value for coming here was not higher to them?
See, so it doesn't have inherent value that you can trade for it.
Well, I'm not saying it does, though. It has a lot of value. That's why people want to come here. So if you're the one who's holding this item, in this case, it's obviously sort of more nebulous, but a citizenship, but something of value, what should the requirements be, considering that we have so many people here who also value it and want to remain in this country?
I'd like to agree with Ronald Reagan with the fact that the only thing that makes an American is a willingness to be American. Anybody can come from any part of the world and become an American.
So what does that mean? What is it to become an American?
Also, the willingness to be an American only comes from the strong. Only comes from the strong. You said the word willingness. To be willing and to stick it out through said willingness, you have to have a strong will. And there are people that come here that do not do that. They're doing it for the easy ride. They're doing it because of the welfare system. They're doing it because they will know it is easy. That is the opposite of willingness. That is malicious, opportunist behavior.
I suppose in my opinion, you could say that to become an American is just simply a willingness to make this country great.
Yeah.
And a lot of immigrants have that. That's why they come here.
How does someone make this country great?
They improve itself through their communities, themselves, the country at large. When we talk about making America great as a very large...
No, I'm not talking about the slogan.
I'm not referencing that. I just mean, in general, making a very large institution better. Mm-hmm. There's really no way to quantify that unless you want to get into, like, specifics of a GDP. I mean in terms of values and cultural systems. You can't quantify.
You absolutely can quantify that. Like, for example, if you look at, statistically, if you look at crime rates and you realize that, hey, when we bring over all these immigrants that worked hard to be here and they're here legally and they assimilate and the crime rate doesn't change because it was already low and it stays low, there's a value to that. Now, when you bring in people who don't give a fuck about the culture, don't give a fuck about the people, don't give a fuck about the country, and they start stabbing each other in the street and robbing people and setting cars on fire, and the list goes on, and the crime rates go up, yeah, you can assign value to that. Value is just numbers. Value does not inherently mean anything monetary. Now, to be fair, there is a monetary aspect to crime rates and whatnot, and you can track that, but that's neither here nor there. The point is, values are just simply numbers. So yes, you can 100% put a value on that. Again, for somebody who's going into engineering, you would think he would know how values work. Yes, everything can be quantified. Exactly, Jeremiah.
Okay, well, I think you can quantify it as far as net contributions versus net deductions. But as far as culturally, I've kind of put forth my position, right? That's improving the culture, shared values. It's why these people have left these countries. I believe these countries are inferior culturally. So what would your criteria, and this isn't a trick question, it's a real conversation that needs to take place.
Yeah.
What is it to be an American, and how does an immigrant coming here, how do they make it better? Because I think that should be the criteria for who we accept. This
is really interesting because the Change My Mind was supposed to be about deport all illegals. And they got into this conversation about legal immigration, which, to be fair, is a very important conversation. Like, I'm glad that it shifted to this. Really, it started with this. They haven't talked really about illegal immigration at all. They did for like 2 minutes at the beginning, moved to legal immigration, which is also equally an important question. Because, I mean, like I was saying earlier on when we were reacting to the Asmongold stuff, I'm all for a fucking just blanket moratorium, 5-tier moratorium on all immigration. Minus, that there will, of course, be exceptions to the rule, like there's exceptions to any rule. So, like, even legal immigration is a very important conversation to have. Like, I think this is being done very well.
You make this country better. And if the answer is no, then I think you should make your country better. I think if, for example, H-1Bs, I think there's quite a bit in engineering, but I know a lot in tech. I think it's probably more heavily skewed tech, but quite a few Indian engineers. If they're so great and the most brilliant and best, why does India still look like India?
I mean, when you say look like India, what do you mean?
Come on, bro. Come on, bro. You know what he means. You know what he means. Hold on a sec. Indian Feces Festival. This is what he means. This is what he means. Why is India still like India? Let's not play fucking games here. You know what he means.
I mean, a poor country, a backwards country, where people can't get access to basic health care, basic necessities, starving, diseases that we've eradicated here that they still suffer from. Hundreds of thousands of people dying from snake bites. That's not a joke.
No, I understand.
But literally, It's a third world country. Why aren't the best and brightest turning India?
Dude, in 6th grade teacher, Mrs. Clark, I remember her. What a gem. She was a bit zany, she was a bit eccentric, but I remember her quite well. I shit you not, taught us about India, referred to it multiple times. Our textbook referred to India as a third world country. I good goddamn guarantee you, India is not referred to as a third world country in 6th grade textbooks and by 6th grade teachers nowadays. I bet that shit is off the fucking table. Thank God I grew up when I did.
Into America number 2.
Well, a lot of those things, when you talk about being a backwards country, and a lot of the things they face because being so rural, are more to do with cultural values and things that you place into...
Correct. Cultural values. No. He hits the nail on the head here. I just don't know if he realized it. So these cultural values have kept them from growing, have kept them from pursuit of greatness in the same way that America has. So why would we import these individuals with these cultural values unless they renounce said cultural values?
I agree. High regard that they don't. And so even the idea of a third world country, you know, comes from the Civil War, as I'm sure you know. And we use it these days to refer...
I don't think he's correct about that. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure the idea of a third world country very much predates the Civil War. A third world country, if I recall, feel free to fact check me on this, by the way, chat, because your boy don't like being wrong. Had to do with countries that or you know, just geographical locations, oftentimes countries, since the term third world country, that were largely inaccessible due to their geographical location, so they were not able to trade. They were not part of trade routes. They were not able to mingle with other. They were not able to you know integrate, or not even integrate, just mingle with other cultures to grow and prosper and, you know, get goods and whatnot that they were not able to. So the term third world country came due to the physical inability to access these countries. Now, obviously, the times have changed in terms of evolved, and that's not what it means anymore. But I'm almost positive that's where the term started, and that was way pre-Civil War.
To anything that is less urbanized or less culturally, like scientifically advanced, technologically advanced.
Sure.
But a lot of these countries just, they have...
Yeah, let's check it. Let's use some Chat GPT. Now, to be fair, it's AI. We'll take it with a grain of salt, but where did the term third world country first originate, and what did it mean at the time of origin? The term third world country did not originally mean poor, underdeveloped, or backward. First historical comes from early Cold War. I guess I was wrong in terms of the time. It had a political meaning, not an economic one, where the term originated. Coined by Alfred Sauvé, French demographic historian. First appearance, L'Observateur in August 4th, 1952. Sauvé used the phrase tiers mondiaux, third world, in an article comparing global political blocs to third estate of pre-revolutionary France. First world, Western capitalist democracies led by the United States. NATO, second world. All right, fair enough. I was wrong on that one, to be fair. I was incorrect. Nations that rejected choosing sides in the Cold War, not poor, underdeveloped, but politically independent. Okay, fair enough. I was incorrect. There is a term then for countries that were inaccessible and therefore unable to contribute to economic trade and whatnot. But maybe that wasn't third world country. So I guess I was wrong there. And I'll admit to being wrong. Fair enough.
Really strong programs and a lot of things that aren't focused on the things we Americans find valuable.
Right.
And so,
but why not?
That's a great question. I'm not Indian. I wouldn't know. Or, you know, any country. The point is that those people that come here and choose to make our country better rather than theirs.
But they are not. You're operating under the assumption they are choosing to make our country better. That is not inherently true, nor do I think it's even largely true, at least not by today's standards. When you've got people who are coming here, and they're going to college here, and they're getting their education here, and they're sending all their money back to their country, or they're running for office and saying they're putting their country first, like fucking Ilhan Omar with Somalia, then no, they are not putting America first. They're not putting, it doesn't have to be America, any fucking country.
They might just hold values and things that we find value in rather than they.
Well, what's the benefit? Some do, a lot don't. And what would you say to the American who goes, well, these people come here, take a job, do it for a lower wage, and they send the money back home to India, the country that they left, because that's very common.
Bongo.
I mean, you say a lot don't, and just
a lot don't.
We can't speak necessarily what any given immigrant believes or does not believe.
Well, okay, so in Texas, I'll just give you as an example, and I've talked with quite a few of these people. As a matter of fact, I did a talking with people, which is like changed my mind, but I'm less likely to get shot, where I just kind of walk and talk, and there were some Indian immigrants who were going to college. And I said, what do you like most about America? They said, opportunity and the money. And I said, oh, great, cool. Well, that's tough. What do you like most about America? I said, the ability to give money back home to my family. I said, what do you love most about America? They couldn't say anything.
Notice how their default always had to do with what they could do for their homeland. They are using America to improve their homeland. These are the people we don't fucking need. I don't give a good goddamn if they've got altruistic beliefs, say, hey, I want to help my family back. I don't care. If you are here, your priority should be here. We have welcomed you into our home. The least you can do is respect it by contributing to it. It's the fucking lazy roommate thing. You got a buddy of yours down on his luck. You invite him in, be your fucking roommate. Hey man, sorry you're getting divorced, or sorry you got evicted or whatnot. Come here, I'll help you get back on your feet. All I ask is that, do the dishes, take out the trash, shit like that. And they lounge around on the couch all day. Why are you here? Why, that's disrespectful, first of all, to our home. Disrespectful to the home that we've invited you into. And frankly, it's disrespectful to yourself because you're doing nothing for yourself. It is like, extrapolate that to an entire country base. It's fucking disgusting. We don't need these people here. These people are net drains on everything. Again, moratorium on all immigration for the next 5 to 10 years, barring certain exceptions.
They could read me a laundry list. What was great about India. And there are areas in Texas, obviously, particularly areas like in the Dallas area, a lot of Indian. Let me ask you, do the areas where Indian immigrants have come here en masse, meaning they make up a majority of the neighborhood, does it look more like America as we know it, or less, more like India?
I think the idea that we need to keep America sort of stagnant over time, that it can't change culturally, is...
Not to India. That's my opinion. I think it's a bad thing.
Well, I mean, that's what makes America America, is that people
looking like India?
No, I mean, this idea of a melting pot, and some people disagree with that, but that's not...
No, that is not what makes America America. What makes America America is the fact that people from all over the world would come here to become American, to put this culture, this new great experiment in individual freedom, the great experiment of freedom, to put that above the lesser shit that they came from. That was what it meant. When you had somebody come here that didn't speak the fucking language, and they learned it, and they came here with their kids, and they were in their fucking one-bedroom apartment while they were working at the plant in 1947, and they told their kids, you don't speak Vietnamese anymore. You don't speak Japanese anymore. You don't speak Spanish anymore. Whatever the fuck it was. We are in America. You will speak English. We are here to assimilate. We are here to become Americans. The idea of the melting pot was not so that America could just have all these other amorphous cultures within it. It was so that we could get the best of these cultures and leave the worst behind, therefore becoming this great idea again, the great experiment in freedom. And people were willing to take that freedom, back to what I was saying earlier about responsibility. Yes, they had the freedom to speak their native language if they so chose, but they had the responsibility to decide to choose English instead, to pursue work instead, to pursue growth here in America instead of sending it back to their backwards ass shithole country that they fled to come here because of the opportunity.
It's a different, though, but it's a very different melting pot. Again, people from Ireland and England coming in, they weren't from different planets. When someone doesn't come from the same type of value system or even share the same language, and they're interested in using the gold, the milk and honey from this country to send back to said country they left, that's not the same thing. We can see examples. For example, those early immigrants, they weren't sending all their money back to Italy or Ireland. Cuban Americans, these are actual asylum seekers. They won't send a dime back to Castro's Cuba, right? It's not the same thing. I think a lot of people are not coming here to contribute, but to reap the benefits, and there's no regard for the American citizen.
So you think what qualifies an immigrant to have value is how culturally similar their previous country is to America? Or
no, he did not say that whatsoever. What he was stating was that if you come from a place that's culturally dissimilar, you leave those dissimilarities behind and you integrate, assimilate into this culture. It's, again, this is all very obvious shit. I can't tell if this guy's being obtuse or if he truly doesn't understand. Shout out to Zalozy for the 5-banger. My grandparents came to America during World War II. They learned to be American and raised their kids to be American. Bingo, bango, bongo. Fucking exactly. All right? My heritage, as I've said multiple times on this channel, is Spanish and Native American. Now, to be real, I don't do any Spanish or Native American shit in my household. I do American shit in my household. Because I was raised a fucking American. Now, I know my heritage. I know where we came from. I know, some stuff about, my Native American history, my Spanish history, the whole nine. But I don't practice any of that gay shit. Because I'm a fucking American. And my parents are American. And my grandparents were American. Alright? Now, to be fair, my stepdad, who's Native American, unrelated to me, but my grandmother, it just so happens that my stepdad was also Native American, but I also have a lot of Native American. I mean, I'm like 1/16th Cherokee, I believe. Yeah, I'm 1/16th, so I'm pretty fucking up there. The point is, my stepdad, is straight up half, right? He is straight up half. He lives on the Cherokee Nation still to this day. I lived on the Cherokee Nation for a long time. Now, he does a lot of his Native American traditional shit. Equinox comes around. He walks barefoot in the field. He does his prayers to his spirit guides and whatnot. He has all this Native American, real relics and whatnot all around his house. And that's cool. That's fine. He also abides by the fucking Constitution and by the American values. He lives the spiritual life of a Native American, but when it comes to the actual, hey, how do I function in the real world? He acts like a fucking American, not a Native American.
I mean, I think it should be factored in how much they build this country, not take.
But that has nothing to do with how culturally similar their country.
It absolutely does. Dude, okay. If you've got a culture that's whole point is to dominate and to take, i.e. Islamic cultures, the Quran specifies that they are to beat and dominate other cultures and religions into submission and convert them to Islam. If we start letting a lot of Muslims come over here and that's their mentality, then yeah, the cultural differences, those gonna cause a little bit of problems.
I would say that's a central tenet to American culture. When you had immigrants coming here and they were building the Empire State Building where they're eating their lunch boxes on the scaffolding, that still gives me vertigo when I see the pictures, and paying taxes, I think that's very different from someone coming here, and certainly the illegal aliens who don't pay taxes, or the ones who don't, I'm not saying not all, or someone coming here, collecting the money and sending it back to India or sending it back to Mexico or sending it back to Honduras, insert country here. I think it's very, very different. And you see it with Cuban Americans, you see it with USSR expats who came here who were fleeing communism.
It's difficult to inherently say that sending money home is a bad thing when so often the federal government, because of our role in the national or the world stage, gives millions or billions of dollars to foreign countries.
And they shouldn't be doing that. It's not difficult to say at all that these people shouldn't be sending money back to their family or whatever. No, again, you're here, you're in America, you assimilate to America, you say, fuck that place I came from because I'm here and this is my home and I want to be an American. If you don't want to be an American, you shouldn't fucking be here. Now, bringing up the federal government, sending all the money willy-nilly to all these other backwards-ass shithole countries, we shouldn't be doing that either. We shouldn't be sending money to Israel. We shouldn't be sending money to Palestine. We shouldn't be sending money to Ukraine. We shouldn't be sending money to Guatemala. We shouldn't be sending money to Uganda. We shouldn't be sending money to fucking Venezuela. Any place that we goddamn send money to, we shouldn't be sending money to. Fuck them bitches. They ain't America.
It's just an individual portion of that. And I don't know that you necessarily, or I can speak for myself specifically, would not give money back to my family if I were to make enough in a different country.
Well, sure, but the policy should be a 50% remittance tax. Keep your money in America. If you love America, keep your money in America. Benefit the American citizen. Because, again, we can't track it. We just know the net cost. Versus the net contributions. And that needs to be taken into. What about a shared language? Got to speak English? Or no?
Really?
You don't agree with that?
No, none of that.
Okay, so you don't have to contribute. You can send your money back home. You don't have to speak English. Tell me how any of this makes America better.
I think it would be smart if they were to learn English. It's just simple common sense. The majority language here is English. However, there's a difference between things that might be smart or common sense and things we can make legally enforceable. And that's one of those things.
It's not about what you do or don't make legally enforceable. It's about the idea that we are going to... It is a privilege to come here. It is a privilege. We are granting you a privilege to come to this country and to assimilate into this country. If you are not going, if we have rules that come with said privilege, such as you need to learn English, if you are not going to follow those rules, then you do not need to be here. That privilege is no longer being extended to you. Okay, there's no rule saying you can't speak another language, you can't learn another language, right? There are multiple bi, tri, quadrilingual individuals, not only in this country, but all over the world. However, if part of the deal for you coming here and getting to reap the benefits of being in America and eventually becoming American is that you learn the language, then yes, if you opt not to do that, then you have rescinded your invitation to be here because it came here with rules. It came here with restrictions. It came here with a deal that you have decided to renege on.
Same with sending money home or even having an American value system, which you may define to be a sense of cultural norms. But regardless, there's a difference between things that you might find personally benefiting to you or the country as a whole and things that we can make legally responsible.
For sure, you could ensure that any and all retail customer service positions, forward-facing positions, English, only English, as they do in countries with official languages.
That would be a disservice to many of the communities where most
but it would be a huge service to the...
No, fuck that nonsense, dude. I was in San Antonio. I will always remember this. I was in San Antonio. I was young, dude. I was like, I don't remember how old I was, right? But I went to McDonald's. And the entire fucking menu was in Spanish. I'd never seen that shit before. To be fair, they were probably super surprised to see my white ass walking into a McDonald's. They probably thought they saw a motherfucking Sasquatch or something. They saw little tiny baby hairless Sasquatch. That's how much of a fucking mythical creature I look like to this Latino community. That being said, I walked into this McDonald's and I thought, yo, what the fuck? Thank God the numbers were still, the regular ass numbers, and I could tell them I wanted number 2 or number 4, whatever the fuck I ordered. But the point is, that was a disservice to me as an American who had no fucking idea what to do when I couldn't converse properly with these motherfuckers trying to get my goddamn food. Why are you here speaking a language that is not the predominant language when you are not the predominant race, when you're not the predominant ethnicity, with an entire goddamn food menu in a language that the predominant citizenry and ethnicity can't fucking read? That is a disservice to the majority.
United States community.
That ignores the fact that the United States community is made up of smaller communities.
No?
Yes, definitionally, yeah.
Well, you use the term melting pot, which is a term that's, I'll use it for the nomenclature.
How can you distinguish United States culture from Oklahoma culture from Oklahoma City culture?
Yeah.
There are different sizes to it.
Sure.
And a lot of the smaller parts of this country don't speak English as their native language.
And that is inherently a problem. They should. The fact that we have allowed this to happen has been a failing on our part.
Simply because a lot of them are immigrants, second-generation immigrants, third-generation immigrants.
Yeah.
And so why...
You just define the difference between national borders and state borders.
Yes, sir.
Right? And a national border is a language. A national border is net contributions. A national border is you keep your resources here. If you want to be a part of this nation, you place this nation before all others. That is a huge component of being American. I don't give a rat's ass what Ronald Reagan says in the way it's misinterpreted. He's saying if you want to become an American, what does that mean? Let's look to the founding documents. You have no allegiance to any other nation before the United States. That means you don't send your money elsewhere. You don't have a sworn allegiance or an affinity for another nation above the United States, and we need to have a shared common culture.
Well, that's an allusion to the founding documents. I mean...
So you think that America is stronger? Because I don't want to get too far. If people don't speak the same language, if people coming here don't learn English, send their money back to another country, you think that makes America great? Because let's just agree.
Yeah. Look, I don't think that inherently makes America better or worse. I think...
Okay, but statistically, again... You are studying to be an engineer. You should understand how numbers work. The numbers blatantly bear out that it does make things worse. If you've got a fucking busted water pipe, and the room is starting to flood, and there's 3 people in the room, and it needs fixed, and you're trying to figure out how to fix it, what is a more likely scenario of coming up with ideas to getting it fixed? If all 3 of you speak the same language, or if all 3 of you speak 3 different languages. This is basic shit. Obviously, if you all speak the same language, you'll be able to, bounce ideas off of each other, come up with an idea of how to solve this problem so you don't fucking drown. I cannot, because you can You can have opinions that are different in terms of like what will or won't make America great or whatnot, but you have to be able to rationalize them in a logical way. There is no logic to this guy's argument whatsoever.
Their contributions to the country can make this country better or worse. However, their cultural norms and values have no difference.
But what contributions?
Those cultural norms and values, you say have no difference? Hold on. Roll that the tape.
Better or worse. However, their cultural norms and values have no difference.
But what contributions?
It was culturally normal for the Aztecs or the Mayans or whatever the fuck to murder people, to sacrifice them, to appease the rain god so that the crops grew. Now, if we were to let that culture just come in and keep their normal values and they just started fucking stabbing people once a year to make rain god happy, don't you think the amount of piled up bodies would be a net negative to the overall culture of America? It's obviously cultural differences really kind of do fucking matter.
Technological is a great example. I mean, I can speak from experience, but also just generally cultural. So much of American cuisine is made up of foreign cuisine.
Now, you're not going to get me on tandoori chicken that's the reason we need a bunch of third world immigrants who don't speak the language.
By the way, yes, American cuisine is so much of it's foreign. He's entirely correct. That goes back to what I said, where they left their allegiance to their country at the door. They brought the best with them, and that can be integrated into our culture. That is what the melting pot actually is. Now, you introducing ethnic cuisine is not going to do anything to harm the culture. In fact, it will likely improve the culture because it will improve the economy, because you open up a restaurant selling your fucking ethnic cuisine, and that goes back into the local economy. And as long as you take the earnings and you keep putting it into the local economy instead of sending it back home, that is proper integration.
I'm not trying to, just in the sense that there's so much of American culture that borrows from other cultures, and we change it and we make it American, but we can't do that if we don't have immigrants.
He never said, hold on, we are fucking 25 and a half minutes in this. He never said no immigrants. He said if you immigrate here, you put America first, you assimilate into the American culture, you don't have allegiance to your prior culture, and not even your prior culture, your prior country, the state that you came from. Has this dude been under the impression that there's been an argument for zero immigration thus far, which, by the way, I'll reiterate, is something that I hold, at least moratorium. There's no way he could have been going almost half an hour believing that when that was never even the fucking discussion.
And I understand that's not what you're saying.
You can do it if you have a selected
good.
group.
He said I understand that's not what you're saying. Fucking finally. That was worrisome.
Group of immigrants who improve America, who are a net benefit to America. We have 350 million people in this country, and we are facing an insurmountable debt. We have far too many people, and by the way, not just immigrants, to be clear. I also think we should cut SNAP in these welfare states for Americans who are abusing the system. But the difference is we have the ability to set criteria for people coming into this country, and I think it needs to start with what serves the interest of the American people. And I think the left, the reason they're losing and the reason that Gen Z men are veering away from them is because they're not able to define what it is to be American.
Well, I mean, let's be clear that you're not arguing the left at large in this situation.
No, I'm telling you, but I'm saying I am willing to stake my claim on this is important, and I think it's important to a lot of Americans. And we used to just talk about, hey, cool, let's make it easier to immigrate here. I don't think so. I think it's very valuable. I think we should only take the best and the brightest, and I think we should have criteria that establishes this is what's expected of you. Good example, because I know you're a very smart guy. You've heard the term evangelize, of course. So and it pisses me off because a lot of Christians go like, I'm evangelizing. Have you heard the good news? Jesus loves you. It's like, well, evangelize, I believe it comes from the word evangelium. And so what this meant is, let's say there's a new Caesar, and they would actually send out people to evangelize. And what that included was, hey, here's the good news. Your new Caesar is benevolent. He's going to provide A, B, C, X, Y, Z. Yeah. Here's the flip side. Here are the expectations, right? Here's what you are expected to contribute. That's what evangelizing was, letting people know, hey, this is the new program and these are the benefits.
Well, words evolve over time, and we shouldn't necessarily...
Well, I'm just using that as an example. That's how all nations... Oh, take a walk real quick. Okay, all right. Sorry, it means that there's something... Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
It's nice to meet you.
Damn, this conversation was real good. It's a bummer that it had to end here. All in all, like I said, I did find that valuable. I disagreed with so much of what that dude had to say. That being said, it was a it was a good dialogue because it was respectful, because it was, you could tell the guy was arguing in good faith. I will say that. Now, he had a lot of ridiculous points, but he was absolutely arguing in good faith, and that is something we don't really get a lot of nowadays, and it's something that I do actually appreciate. I like to see, because there are people that think this way, and even if he didn't, walk away agreeing with Crowder, maybe he thinks about it. Maybe he stays up tonight, thinks about it. Tomorrow night, thinks about it. Maybe he has discussions with his buddies about it. Maybe he does some research on it. Crowder gave him that card with all these sources. You know what? People believe, people will believe, whatever it is that they believe, and irrational individuals will be willing to have their minds changed when presented with new information. So, if this dude is rational, he would be like, you know what? My beliefs were countered. I still believe them, but let's look at the other side. Now, is this me being optimistic, hoping for the best? Yeah, obviously. Is that short-sighted? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. But you've got to admit that there was a difference between somebody like this who could sit down and have that conversation for nearly half an hour, and do it on a at least a baseline, roughly at the same intellectual level as Crowder, or at least he was able to hold his own, versus the blue-haired fucking land whale with 83 different piercings, 5 of them being in her fucking nose, and just screaming about how he's a racist and a xenophobe. So yeah, I think there was, that was productive. I think that was good. This, because I say all the time, how do you have dialogue with people that hate you? These people that are out there cheering for the murder of Charlie Kirk, these same people, that these actual, demons in human form that were cheering for the death of a murdered man because all he did was have fucking conversations. That is there's no assimilating with those people. There's no getting along with those people. There's no changing those people. And I stand by that. Though you cannot have conversations with people who literally hate you. And you can't break bread with them. You can't share a nation with them. But people like that kid, who, has some dumb ideas. I should say kid. He's 19. He's an adult. I went on that diatribe yesterday. We shouldn't be calling these people kids. But that young man there, somebody who very obviously thought differently, but was calm, cool, collected, and for all intents and purposes, relatively rational about it, I think is the perfect example of somebody that, even if you disagree, it is worth the conversation with. It is worth the breaking of bread with, and that you potentially can share a nation with. So yeah. Well done. Well done. I'm very glad we watched that. For those of you watching, if there's anybody new here who who hasn't seen me before, if you're new in this bitch, do me a solid. Hit that subscribe button, please. Hit that notification bell. It means the absolute world to me, because we do shit like this on the daily. Not always about politics. A lot of times about, gaming, and nerd culture. But the point is, hit the subscribe button. Would truly appreciate it. Now, speaking of gaming, speaking of nerd culture, there was a video that hey, you love my shirt? Thank you. Appreciate you. I don't wear this shirt very often. I don't usually wear things that ain't black. But, all my black clothes are in the wash. I was like, red it is. I don't like, red isn't my color. I don't think red's my color. I love red. I don't think red loves me. But if you like the shirt and if it looks good on me, I appreciate that. Alright, let me see if I can find this video again. Purple is my color? I do like purple. I do really like purple.
Alpha team is flying over the forest region.
Stop talking, bitch. Stop talking. All right, there we go. We start that hair flipping. Yeah, Spider-Man is my absolute favorite superhero. Absolute favorite superhero, bar none. Love Spider-Man. Alrighty. Now, for some of y'all that came up in this bitch that might not know my views on AI, I'm pro AI. Let's be real. I am. I'm pro AI as long as it's used properly. And y'all know how much I love Resident Evil. Resident Evil AI trailers in 1990s anime. Bro, I've been saying ever since 2007 when we got that dope-ass canon Devil May Cry anime. You know, the good one, not that Adi Shankar bullshit. I've been saying we need a Resident Evil anime. I have had this on the watch list for ages. We're finally going to get into it. Let's see what Resident Evil will like as an anime. By the way, the 90s anime style, the best style. Let's go. Resident Evil AI trailers in 1990s anime.
Alpha team is flying over the forest region northwest of Raccoon City. We're searching for Bravo team's helicopter. They vanished without a trace in the middle of their mission.
We found the remains of...
Alright, let's take a look at some character design here. Chris looks good. Chris looks pretty fucking good. Jill, look, Jill is my favorite fucking Resident Evil character, bar none. Jill is my favorite Resident Evil. Frankly, she's my favorite female video game character of all time. And she, like, might be my second favorite video game character, period, of all time. Like, Sonic, and then, like, Jill and Leon Kennedy are pretty damn tied. But the point is, I think they could have done more with her. They could have done more with her. Joseph looks good, but it really doesn't matter. He doesn't live past this opening scene. Like, yeah, Joseph looks fine, but, bitch, you about to die. Wesker looks fucking hilarious. I don't like it. Like, it looks cool on its own, but knowing this is Resident Evil, bro, no. Wesker can't be having hair like that. Now Barry, though, Barry looks sick. I dig the look for Barry. I wish he was a bit more ginger. But I like the look.
Bravo team's helicopter. But there was no one inside. Only silence. We soon pressed on our way.
Alright, so that was a pretty weak-ass animation right there, that gunshot. However, this is as a 1990s anime. Sometimes those were a little stiff as well. Oh, now this was the thumbnail shot. This looks so good. Like, I would not, if I just saw this in isolation, I wouldn't question what this is. You know, looking at this, this is fucking Resident Evil, bro.
Jill, run for that house! Right behind!
Oh, see, the animation there looked better. How much of that was the AI versus how much of it was, like, in the high action scenes in 90s anime, the animation quality would improve. Either way, it works.
We were forced to retreat into this mansion, but the dangers from outside proved to be just the beginning.
We gonna get an anime style opening, baby? Let's go! Alright, aside from the fact the AI really fucked up there, if we were to picture it doing it properly, that is something that anime would do. Like, just have a little quirky Jill sandwich. Alrighty. Alright, I see what you're doing there. A 90s anime would have a little quirk like that. No. No, hold on. What the fuck did they do to Barry's goddamn hand cannon? Barry's supposed to have a motherfucking hand cannon. Hold on. I'ma show you guys. Barry Burton RE1 remake gun. You know what? That's too small. That's too small. Here we go. Open image in new tab. Look at the size of this motherfucker. Look at that. Cut back to this. This. That's some weak sauce, bro. That's some weak sauce. Rebecca's adorable. This is a good Rebecca. It's not accurate. The outfit's not accurate. But I knew immediately. You wouldn't have had to pop a name up on the screen for me to know this is Rebecca. I like it. For those of you unaware of what Rebecca looks like, hold on. Again, we're gonna be doing this for a minute. Resident Evil 0 Rebecca. We don't need guns, just Rebecca. God damn it. Anyway. Here we go. This is a pretty good... Yeah. Look at that. Oh, her eye color's wrong, though. Her eye color's wrong. I didn't catch that. Don't like that. But, man, they even got the red fucking choker. Well done. That's a good Rebecca. I like that. That makes me happy. I don't like what... Okay.
What is this?
That was a very Wesker laugh and movement, though.
Wow, what a mansion.
Captain, where's Chris?
No! Stop it, don't open that door. What is this?
What is it?
Please, for the love of God, deliver the line.
Blood. I hope this is not Chris's blood.
Yes! That was great! Alright, so I got some issues with this. Like this, first of all, well done on the Chris's blood comment. But this is supposed to be as a 90s anime, right? Too much of this trailer, you can tell it's got that CG effect to it. I've seen way better AI Fate trailers that don't have that quality. These sort of 90s anime would not have that kind of CG.
Watch out! It's a monster!
Let me handle this.
You got Wesker's gun better there.
And Jill, here's a lockpick. It might be handy if you, the master of unlocking, take it with you.
Yes. Honestly, I'm digging the dialogue. I'm so glad they're using the original 96 cheesy dialogue as opposed to the 2001, 2002 remake. Yes.
Thanks, Barry.
Itchy. So itchy, must scratch. What on earth took place here?
That shot looked good. No pun intended. Like, the jump to the door at that quick speed, because that's a very 90s anime thing to do. The pause, the eyes widening, like the quick zoom in on Chris's face. Yeah, again, this guy definitely, whoever made this, knows how 90s anime shots were structured. The classic hallway scene. The classic hallway scene with the goddamn Cerberuses.
Oh no!
We gotta get the Jill sandwich, baby! Let's go!
Help!
That was too close. You were almost a Jill sandwich.
Now why would you not have him pull her out and then deliver the line? That was a fuck up.
Thanks, Barry.
I'm not liking the Jill, man. This is bumming me out. To be fair, Jill is supposed to be like, as much as we throw bitch fits about like these dumbass, modern, strong female characters, understandably so, justifiably so, because they fucking suck. Jill is a legitimate great example of an actual strong female character, and she sounds so demure in this, and I don't like that. Like, obviously, she should be thanking Barry. She does thank Barry. Barry saved her, but she sounded too childish. I mean, she's still a member of STARS. She is effectively part of the SWAT team, the Special Tactics and Rescue Service. She's hardened. She shouldn't sound like a child.
Whoa, what the?
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to do that.
You're with the other team, right?
I don't remember if this is from the original game or if they're even so good they're pulling from the novel. So for those of you that don't know, because I don't remember this being in the original game, in the book, in the novelization of Resident Evil 1, Rebecca loses her gun, right? And so when Chris barges into the room and finds her the first time, she has a fucking can of like bug spray as her only weapon. And not realizing that Chris is a human, someone bursts through the door, she fucking sprays him in the face with bug spray. and like gets it all in his eyes and shit. And that's what they're referencing here. Again, if anyone's played the first one recently, because I always default to the remake, because the remake is honestly, it's one of the few times that the remake is just objectively better than the original. It is the legitimate canon game. So I haven't played the first one in ages. If that's in the first one, and the original version of the first one, remind me. But if not, this dude knows his Resident Evil history, because he is pulling from something that's in the fucking novelization. Which, yes, I've read multiple times.
I'm Rebecca. Bravo Team Medic reporting.
A typewriter. It looks old, like an antique. God damn it. Needs ink. I do need to save my progress.
Just a moment. Okay, that's too much. Like, that breaks the immersion. If this was a 90s anime, yeah, you could probably find a way to use the typewriter as, like, an homage or whatnot, but it wouldn't actually be saving the progress or whatnot. Like, maybe, since Chris and Jill are separated or whatnot, maybe you could have Chris, like, leave a note for Rebecca, or leave a note for Jill using the typewriter, and you still get the typewriter reference. I don't like they break the immersion for, like, save my progress.
Moment. I found something.
What is it?
It's a weapon. It's really powerful, especially against living things. Better take it with you.
Especially against living things. Again, that line is lifted directly from the original game. Beautiful.
But how about you?
I have this.
Thank you. I'll take this then.
Ah, a piano. A shame, really.
Hi.
I suck. I can't play.
It's a pretty Chris line.
It's me, Chris.
Is that you, Rebecca? Nice piano.
I'm a bit rusty, but I can play.
Weak sauce, bro. Weak sauce. It didn't play the Moonlight Sonata. Now, to be fair, the AI generator they used for this probably can't actually play, like, real copywritten songs and whatnot. I don't know if Moonlight Sonata is public domain or copywritten. The point is, it probably can't generate real songs, but even so, you couldn't just spliced in audio of the Moonlight Sonata. Come on now.
What the? Where did everyone go? Oh.
Is that supposed to be Richard? Because if that's supposed to be Forrest's look is all kinds of wrong. If that's supposed to be... Hold on.
What the?
If that's supposed to be Richard, then it's okay. I mean, his vest and stuff is all wrong. They've got, like, the blonde hair. If that's supposed to be Forrest, the outfit's not bad, but the hair is wrong. Like, I'm trying to figure out who this is.
Where did everyone go? Oh, it's just a crow. Get off me! No! No!
Okay, so it's definitely supposed to be Forrest then, because Forrest is the one that gets pet to death by the crows. That looks nothing like Forrest. That one's rough.
It's Forrest. Oh my god.
Oh no.
I'm gonna find out what...
You couldn't... man. You've been so relatively good about the consistency of your models so far. This is rough. This jump from that previous version of Forrest to this one is not good. By the way, this one looks way more like Richard.
How's this? Looks like a crow or something.
I saw a diamond symbol on a door earlier. This must be for that door. Where was that damn diamond door?
Wait. See how accurate this is. Yeah, this is not accurate to the mansion whatsoever. So this should be the foyer. Now you do have a large square room off to the left of the foyer in the game. And then that large square room goes into the hallway here, which is where the dog encounter happens. So this is wrong. You're supposed to have a garden area over here, so that's not there. That's wrong. This actually isn't bad. So up the stairs, you go through the grave, you go through the painting on the wall. It's actually a door, and it takes you out to the graveyard. And the graveyard does actually wrap around like this, although this little square outcropping should actually be more like right here. So, like, you could tell that this dude fed it an image of the actual mansion first floor map, and it tried, but it didn't do it properly. But I can see like where it was getting some proper ideas, right? Like right here should be the dining hall, and the dining hall is not here. But some of it isn't far off. That's I'm impressed with the AI. The fact, because like if you look at the map, right? Let's actually just look at Resident Evil 1 first floor mansion map. Now, if you open image in new tab, so like comparing the two, like you can see the similarities. Like again, out here you've got the you've got the graveyard area I was talking about, which is clearly, whoops, it's clearly this right here. Again, you got the foyer, which the graveyard area is super extended here, and the says probably what this is. It didn't break it up like it should have. Again, you've got this sort of square room. Is actually several rooms. It looks like it broke it into one big one, and then you've got, again, the dog hallway, which is like it sort of does right here. So again, you could tell he gave it an image of the actual map to run it through. It just didn't work, but it got it semi-close.
Damn. What is this? What is this? What is this?
Yo! Is that a hunter?
What is this? What is this?
Oh, it doesn't look very good, though. When it happened really fast, it looked good, but man, when you pause it, that's not a good interpretation of a hunter. They should have worked harder on that. For those of you who don't know, Resident Evil 1 Remake Hunter. This is what they're supposed to look like. No, that's way too small. Here we go. This compared to that. Now, to be fair, this does look like something out of a 90s anime. This does look like what the artistic rendition would be. But that's not very good. That's, quite inaccurate.
What a monster! I can't believe, what the hell is this place anyway?
Barry's voice is not deep enough. It's really starting, like earlier, I think it's fluctuating, because earlier it was deeper. That's just a fucking, again, another problem with AI. Plant 42, baby, let's go!
No, stay back!
You might be able to poison its roots. I'll try to hang on.
I'll do my best. Oh, Richard!
This house is dangerous, full of demons.
See, that looks more like Forrest. Hair color is still not proper, but that looks more like Forrest than Richard. Richard and Forrest are more like Richard. You got them flipped. And again, you still got the vest wrong after all that. You still got the vest wrong. I won't lie, the AI is not doing hot with the side characters.
What got you?
It was a giant snake, poisonous.
Tuxedo Mask for Two Banger says, this is dog water. Well, so, in terms of being accurate to Resident Evil, I'd say it's about like 70-30 so far. Like, as a proof of concept for what a 90s anime Resident Evil would look like, I think it's doing a well enough job. But yes, there are also very obvious oversights. I would not call this dog water. I mean, I've seen dog water AI. This isn't dog water. This is, again, I give it, so far, this gets a passing grade. But this still doesn't mean it's like immune from criticism. But no, this is, if Resident Evil was to be adapted into an anime in the 90s, it would not look too dissimilar from this, likely.
This is for Richard!
Okay, so what they were trying to do there with that first-person view, hold on a sec. Let me see if I can find it. Resident Evil 1 Hunter. Let's see if this gives it to us. Let's see. Yeah, okay. It's terrible quality, but... it was replicating that scene. So, like, let's roll it back a bit. The attempt to replicate that scene is actually pretty, like I can see the idea there. I don't think they quite nailed it, but I can see the attempt. That was well done. Again, this guy knows his Resident Evil lore. He threw in shit from the novelization, for Christ's sake. Tried to make the map accurate. Like, I'm impressed with the creator, the guy that did this knowledge of Resident Evil.
What the? What kind of monster are you? Good thing I found this shotgun earlier.
Something's moving
Neptune,
down here.
nice.
A shark?
But that AI, that is dog water. Like, this looks like shit.
Something's moving down here. A shark?
That is terrible. Nah, you wouldn't need to. You should have really reworked that before you posted this video. That was rough.
Gotta find higher ground and get out of the water. If I can drain the water, that should do it.
Okay, Tuxedo Mask, I see what you did there. I'll give you props. That was good. That was funny.
Okay, so what's next?
Oh, this
We've had
motherfucker.
zombies, vicious dogs, reptile creatures, and giant snakes. Ah, and of course, giant spiders.
You're insane.
Did she just use a shotgun like a bolt-action rifle?
Of course, giant spiders.
That was so fucking painful. That is not how shotguns work, AI. Holy fuck.
You're insane. Sorry for my lack of manners, but I'm not used to escorting men. Now, walk.
This is the ultimate life form.
This is an awesome shot. Like, this is straight up 90s anime. Obviously, the gun is super fucked up there, right? The gun is super fucked up. Like, look at the way he's holding it. Look at where the fucking trigger is, his hand. This is terrible. But, like, that aside, think back to 90s anime, and, like, people would always be putting in these fucking, like, one-handed typing on glowing keyboards. This right here, this whole shot, minus this being terrible, is still very 90s anime.
Walk. This is the ultimate life form. Tyrant.
If it weren't so fucking shittily, this thing is getting worse as it goes. It started off so good. This is getting so much worse as it goes. Look at this. Matt Funcool. Leon Kennedy isn't in the first game.
Chris?
Man, you could tell that the guy that made this, like, he started off strong, and I bet he was going through prompt after prompt, and he just got fucking tired of doing it. It was like, fuck it. We're just gonna shit this out at the end. Like, this is, it's starting around when the shark entered, it started getting real bad. Also, giant-ass tyrant in the background. Holy fuck. But that's also not out of the realm of what you would likely see in a 90s anime.
Stop it!
No. Oh, the tyrant looks bad, man. Tyrant looks bad.
Don't come this way, not me!
I would criticize it for repeating the frames, but like a second time and differently. But I'll be real, that's not even an AI thing. I mean, it probably was, but 90s anime would do that shit all the fucking time.
No, not me. No, no.
All personnel evacuate immediately.
Oh no, this place is gonna blow.
Man, quit Chris would not sound like that kind of a little bitch. What are you doing?
I gotta find the others and get out of here!
Self-destruct.
That was funny.
Get out of here!
I liked that. I'll be real. I liked that. That was funny.
Self-destruct sequence activated. Please evacuate this facility.
I have to find Chris and Barry and get out of here.
All right, this is a very 90s anime shot. What the fuck? Not only did your tyrant look bad before, your tyrant looks bad now, and you couldn't even keep it consistent.
You again? Eat this!
Look at this hand, bro. God damn.
Is this place really gonna blow?
Ah, there you are!
Nothing has offended me more in this than the treatment of Barry's goddamn gun throughout this fucking trailer. This is hurting so fucking bad. Why? Why is Barry's fucking hand cannon getting this short end of the stick in every single shot?
We need to get to the helipad now. Let's go.
No use! My guns are doing no damage!
Use this!
Hell.
What? Whoa, 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 whoa.
No use! My guns are doing no damage!
Use this!
Who the fuck was that? Brad's the pilot. Brad's the one that throws you the fucking rocket launcher. Also, this looks nothing like a rocket launcher, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Who the fuck was that broad?
Hell yeah!
This case was really weird. Too weird.
We'll figure it out. For now, get some rest.
But we're safe now. Wow. What a day.
I do like it ending with Jill eating a sandwich. I do like it ending with Jill eating a sandwich. All right, so I'll save this one for another time. I'm gonna go ahead. I'll add this one to watch later, but we'll do it another time. The Resident Evil 4 one, because I am curious. Save, watch later. Alrighty, that was definitely fun. That was definitely interesting. I'm not a fan of how it turned out. It was doing really well. Yeah, it had some issues, but it was doing really well until like the halfway point, and then it turned to shit, bro. And it turned to shit halfway through. Yeah, you're right. Now, to be fair, it is. I will maintain. It is still a good blueprint for, like, a what if a Resident Evil anime did exist in the 90s. It probably would have looked something like that, and I absolutely would have loved it. I'd have watched the shit out of that. I mean, like, that was... There were ideas there that are super cool. There were references that, again, only diehard fans would get. Like, I'm more impressed at the idea than I am at the execution, but I'll give it stripes. I'll give it a passing grade, barely passing, like 60%. But hey, a D- is still passing. Yeah, maybe he should have focused on a shorter video, and he could have worked with the prompts better. Because I mean, again, it was called a trailer. Ain't no reason for an 8-minute trailer. If you could have done like a 2.5 minute trailer, I think that would have given us a better proof of concept. But I'm glad we watched it. I hope you guys enjoyed it as well. So, alrighty. I think we've been going 3 hours. So how about we do one more video? And the reason we're going to do one more video, I've been trying to react to this motherfucker for ages. Because it's something I'm very curious about. Should Persona be about adults? Now, for anybody that knows me, Persona is in my if not top 5, definitely top 10 video game franchises of all time. I fucking love the Persona games. And the idea of this question, should Persona be for adults? When I read this title, I fucking recoiled. And then I stopped and thought about it and was like, wait. There might be an interesting conversation here. Especially since, at the time this popped up my timeline, I hadn't started Persona 5 Strikers yet, right? And in Persona 5 Strikers, an adult does become a Phantom Thief, does join your team, Zenkichi. And it adds a really interesting dynamic. And I thought that I saw some fan art, and this was years ago. I saw fan art, and it was several of the adult confidants from Persona 5, but they were drawn like teenagers, and it was like this, what if they were the Phantom Thieves, or what if they were a prior generation of Persona users, and it was a really cool idea. So, I want to hear, this. We got fucking 18 minutes, I hope for some good arguments about, should Persona be about adults? Let's go.
The Persona series, aside from Eternal Punishment,
what up,
has always
TDS?
centered their main cast of characters around high school. The idea of another Persona game with a more adult-centric cast is nothing new, and is a very common Persona wishlist item within the fandom. Persona games...
I didn't know that. Like, as much as I love the Persona series, I don't really talk with anyone in the Persona fan base or whatnot. I find a lot of folks, a lot of fan bases in general, and maybe this is because I was ruined because the fucking Sonic fan base is insufferable. But, like, I try to stay out of fan base discourse for anything but, like, Dragon Ball at this point.
Have always been about people, and the idea of exploring that idea further with an older cast of characters is very appealing and has a lot of untapped potential. So then why does Persona...
I would agree with this. The idea of it having untapped potential, I would agree with. Now, does that mean it would be better for the series? I don't know. Like think of the... Because what would really change, right? What would really change by using adult protagonists instead? Well, so much, half of Persona is the life simulator aspect, and managing your high school life with your work life, with being a Persona user, managing your social obligations, and doing that as an adult would be interesting, because really you just swap out school life for work life. But how does that really work? Again, there's potential there, but would it be better?
I feel the need to keep up some sort of status quo with the high school setting. The question of an adult-centered Persona game has come up a few different times in interviews with Atlas staff. Whether you have a preference towards the older classic Persona games, the original Hashino releases of 3, 4, and 5, or the direction of the more recent P-Studio titles, Atlas staff from all 3 of these eras have given an answer to the question, why high school? Something to keep in mind is that not every...
Well, to be fair, I would imagine the answer is because when you're still a child, in high school you're still children, you still have a black and white view of the world, like good and evil, morality, your innocence, and that gets so jaded over time with adults that you can't, because so much of Persona is about the idea of these adult figures being corrupted by, whether it be desires, whether it be their ambitions, whatever it may be. Most adults don't, they know the world is full of shades of gray, and it's harder to write, and I'm not saying this is a good or bad thing, but I imagine it's harder to write a just straight up moral black and white good and evil story if you have jaded adults as your protagonists.
Everyone at Atlas thinks the same way, and thus will have different answers as to why they continue to maintain this status quo. Firstly, let's address Kazuma Kaneko's reasoning. He's known for a lot of Megami Tensei artwork, and that includes Persona 1 and 2.
Man, I love the classic Persona artwork, man. This is such a... You would not look at this nowadays and realize that this is Persona. This was still very much Shin Megami Tensei.
This is from an interview in the Persona 20th Fest booklet. I'll be putting all sources in the description if you'd like to read these all in full. This was in response to the question, how did you decide the content of the game? I also thought about the setting and figured it would be interesting to feature a school taken over by demons. Everyone knows what school is like, not to mention that high school years are right in the middle of adolescence. This period when both body and heart are unstable makes teenagers extremely easy targets for demons, and school's the ideal environment to unleash their power. Okay.
I don't know why you're questioning that. I mean, that makes a whole lot of sense, you know? You are very much emotionally unstable when you're in high school, when you're high school age. Everyone is. I mean, let's be real. We're all adults here. We all know what fucking puberty was like. You are an emotional fucking mess when you're in high school. Even the most well-adjusted motherfuckers are emotional messes. Now, in, like, traditional, you know, demon beliefs and whatnot, demonic beliefs, like, it is easier for demons to harass or possess or harm or whatever words you want to use. It's easier for them to, be an affront to emotionally distressed or compromised people. So, yeah, I mean, that makes perfect sense in terms of, like, why using high school, why use adolescence. They're already going through all this emotional, mental turmoil that they kind of would be primo targets for demons.
I'm having trouble wrapping my head around this one.
I don't know why you're having trouble wrapping your head around it. It's a very obvious answer.
Really, it's just the phrasing being kind of vague. I mean, what exactly does he mean by teenagers being more vulnerable to demons? You
know what? We're 2 minutes in. I'll let it play out. But I can guarantee you any argument I make is probably going to be better than this guy's.
One person I asked said he might have meant that teenagers are more susceptible to falling in with the wrong crowd, being abused by religion, and being manipulated. That's true, but I don't know, man. He could have just said it if that was the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's what he meant at all.
Personally interpreted this as being introduced to demons and the occult in your teen years leaves a bigger impression. Also, gotta love the phrasing body.
No, because that's such a surface level answer. The Persona games have always been incredibly philosophical and theological at their heart. Like the people that work on these games understand and know their theology and know their philosophy. It's very easy for me to come to the conclusion that, like, yes, demons throughout all manners of religions and you know, the world over, or spiritual beliefs, are people who are more are emotionally compromised or more susceptible to them. And high schoolers live in perpetual emotional compromisation. I don't know if compromisation is a word, but we're making it one now.
And hearts are unstable to describe puberty. So, hormones plus demons equals what exactly? Actually, no, please don't answer that. Don't get me wrong, though. I do agree with the overall sentiment of this statement. I think. If either of those interpretations is right, that is. Younglings are susceptible to cult indoctrination, but also, it's important to introduce the youth to all sorts of art and fiction. It helps develop creativity. We here on the Bubble Tea channel treat video games as art. In all fairness to Kaneko, he wasn't explicitly asked about the high school setting, so his entire answer to that question wasn't solely focused on that aspect of the games. This next example will be a lot more direct. Katsura Hashino, director of many Atlus titles, both old and new, but more—
Dude, I want to play Catherine so bad. It's an Atlus title I missed. I want to play Catherine, bro.
Importantly, the original Persona 3, 4, and 5 releases was asked specifically about the possibility of an adult-centered Persona game in an interview taking place after Persona 4's release. In fact, he was also asked about the possibility of an American or European setting.
Nah, fuck that. I never want to see an American or European Persona. Ever. Dude, what makes Persona so special is how intrinsically Japanese it is. Like, it is so culturally Japanese. You would fundamentally be playing a different game. If you want a European Persona, just fucking play Expedition 33. That's it. Play Expedition 33.
In the same question. Here's his response. An important characteristic of the Persona series is that it's a young adult fiction work. So even though we know there
Okay, no. Well, okay, young adult, yes, I will say that. You best not be letting your kids play Persona. Persona is not for kids, alright? Young adult, like, yeah, like, you know, obviously anything over the age of 18, sure, but like, I'd be hard-pressed to say anybody younger than like 15 or 16 should be playing these fucking games.
are many adults in the fan base,
But then again, culture in Japan is very different than culture here in America.
we still choose to focus on adolescent boys and girls for Persona 4. But there's the precedent of Persona 2 Eternal Punishment, where the party consists of adults, so we can't say there won't be an adult party member in the future. Also, another important aspect of the Persona series from Persona 3 onward is the sense of
And we have to remember, Persona 1 and 2, they're not really Persona games. I mean, they are, obviously. They're spin-offs from the Shin Megami Tensei series, but Persona 3 and onwards was where Persona really found its footing as, like, its own identity as a series, as opposed to just being the easier Shin Megami Tensei.
real life. For the story to take place in America or Europe, we'd need more staff with first-hand experience in those areas of the world.
You could always just hire Sweet Baby Inc. as your cultural representatives.
To anyone who's been watching my channel for a while, you might remember I dipped my toes into looking at some of the demographics of the Persona player base, and confirmed that the largest portion of Persona fans, at least at the time Persona 5 was new, is in fact adults. Evidently, it seems they've been aware of this. Based on Hashino's response here, Hashino's answer largely boils down to, we still want to appeal to the high school demographic, so we're still working with characters in high school. He doesn't reject the notion of an adult-centric Persona game, however, and even states that the precedent for one has already been set. The second part of the answer is pretty self-explanatory. You can't really make a game about life in America if you haven't spent a good amount of time living in America.
I fundamentally disagree with that. Now, they shouldn't. They shouldn't do that because, again, what makes Persona great is how intrinsically Japanese it is. But you could do it. You're not fucking morons. Alright? Like, so much of Persona lore, by the way, is not just Japanese. Like, think of it, the tarot card system, right? The tarot card system. That is very European, I'm pretty sure, right? Like, tarot started in Europe, right? Did tarot cards... Oh, maybe it's Egypt. Alright, hold on. We'll ask you this way. Where did tarot originate? Yeah, Northern Italy. Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah, I thought it was European. So, yeah, you're clearly... And so much of Persona relies on the... You know, on the astrological, on the tarot aspect. So, clearly they've got understanding of the... of these other cultures. So, yeah, I think that's kind of a bullshit answer.
So if any of you were hoping for a why Persona is still in Japan video, you're shit out of luck, I guess. Then again, Katsura Hashino has made a game about going to the bar every night, despite admitting he has never been much of a bar goer in another interview. Although I imagine bar culture is probably easier.
And also, just to take it back, because we were talking about Resident Evil before this video, Capcom made the Resident Evil series for the longest time was set in the Midwest of America. And they did complete justice to that. So, again, you can learn about other cultures and make stories based on it. Now, again, I don't want Persona to do that, but that's just a really lackluster answer.
To wrap your head around than the culture of a whole-ass country. Anyways, I should probably get back on topic. As you all know, Katsura Hashino has since moved on to start Studio Zero, to work on other projects and pass the torch to Kazuhisa Wada. Now, to those of you not in the know, Kazuhisa Wada...
Right, Silent Hill is set in West Virginia, exactly.
...isn't just some rando. Much like how Hashino was a staff member on older Atlus games before directing his own, Wada has actually been working on Atlus games as far back as Persona 2. He was also chief designer of the original Persona 3, Persona 4, and Catherine, just to name a few examples. He wasn't just asked about the high school setting, he was asked why Persona protagonists are typically male high schoolers.
Because men are better than women. Fucking duh. Let's be real. You gonna trust the fate of the fucking world when you fight God at the end to a fucking woman? Fuck that!
The exception of Eternal Punishment and Persona 3 Portable, of course. Persona is a story about growing up. Such a setting can be most effectively used with the students on the verge of becoming adults. Another big factor is that student life is something that most people have experienced, so it's easy to empathize with. As for gender, this has to do with mental age. It seems that when it comes to the same high school students, women tend to have a higher mental age than men. However, we don't necessarily think that adults or women are unacceptable.
I do. Fuck that. I don't want to play as a woman. I don't want to play as a fucking female protagonist in a Persona game. I'm gonna be real. I don't. There's patterns of this shit for a reason. Right? There's patterns of this shit for a reason. Obviously, by the way, you don't need to. You don't. If you look back at where was he showing the demographics, right? He was showing the demographics earlier. Right here.
Channel for a while, you might remember I have with first-hand experience in those areas of the world. To anyone who's been watching my channel for a while, you might be looking at some of the
43.5% female. 43.5% female. Clearly, broads are already playing this game. You do not need to make a female protagonist just to get like more women to play it or whatever. It is almost a 50-50 split. It's actually pretty damn good for a video game, right? Yeah, nah. We good. Yeah, that's A-okay. You keep your protagonist male. Because that's what people clearly fucking want.
Used with the students on the verge of becoming a mental age. It seems than men. God, that is some weird phrasing. The second part of that response doesn't really make sense. Some of the best character...
I bet the heavy social relationships draw many women. Exactly. Dude, the life sim aspect of Persona is, like, very much something the women would get into. I think that's why Persona probably has as large a female fan base as it does. Right? Because you've got the life sim aspect. Which, mind you, I love the life sim aspect. I prefer the life sim aspect of Persona more than the dungeon crawling. Now, I love both. But, like, the life sim is only as good as it is because the dungeon crawling stuff makes it so rewarding. The two work in tandem with one another beautifully.
Growth in the series comes from the female characters, so there's clearly plenty of room for growth for female characters. But that's not what this video is about, so I'll stop myself before getting off topic again. The first part of his response is more or less the same as the last two. High school is a universal thing that everyone experiences, and is relatable to the largest possible audience. But every single time, without fail, Atlus has tried to assure us that another Persona game with adults is not off the table. We just have no idea when that'll happen. I know, that's a really boring answer, and what people are really looking for is some sensationalized reason that they can outrage over. But there is none. So instead, I'm gonna shift topics and talk about something that will piss people off.
And that's what we're here for. I mean, not really. I find this conversation, this idea of Persona with adults to be truly interesting. But I ain't above getting spicy. Let's go.
I don't think an adult Persona game would realistically be all that different. I think something else a lot of people don't really think about with this topic is what the adult life would entail from a game.
Okay, see, he's about to break down what I said earlier, the adult life and how it'd be different. Now, let's be real. There is a large difference between adult life and life in high school. Like, for example, in the Persona games, you get large chunks off school for like various holidays and whatnot. Now, if you're in adult life, you wouldn't realistically get that because, I mean, minus like 1 or 2 days off for a holiday or something. You know, you don't get summer break. You don't get winter break, you know, so you'd be having to work every day, manage the social aspects of work every day. You could implement systems like, man, you went into the, you go into whatever the Persona realm is in this upcoming game because, you know, they change game to game, and maybe that could affect your work life. Depending how long you take to beat the dungeon would affect, you know, you're tired at work the next day. They could do that with a school setting as well, but the point is, you wouldn't have as much time off. Your social situations are different as adults than they are as high schoolers. You know, the world is much more, like, they say high school never ends, and in a sense that's true, but there are more stakes to your social standing in adult life, whether we like to admit that's true or not. But also, I think what would fundamentally change is the writing. Because adults view the world in a different way. And I touched on this a little bit earlier. Adults view the world differently than kids do. Even high school kids, even though you're on the cusp of adulthood, you still don't really understand how the world works. You haven't been out there in it. So, like, the idea of how you would handle these, like these changes of heart or these removal of shadows, these reconciliations about who you are on the inside or who these other people are on the inside, it would be very different for an adult mind. And I think that difference in writing could be interesting. It also could be worse because we like the idealism that we had when we were children. Like that's what one of the things about Persona that really gets us invested in the story is it takes us back to a time when we weren't jaded and we're living through these characters that haven't become jaded. Like, it could go either way. It would truly depend on the strength of your writer.
Gameplay perspective. I think a lot of people just kind of expect a game that plays like the other games, but with adult characters. Feels like they're really only into the adulthood thing as an aesthetic, which is ironically really childish. Like some too old for Pokemon phase bull.
No, not at all. Aesthetic is incredibly important. I mean, like, if a game does not have a strong aesthetic or is not aesthetically pleasing, or if you're not interested in the art of said aesthetic, then you're still not going to get a good product. It's not childish at all to have an interest in something because of the aesthetic of it. Because the aesthetic of something can make you feel a certain way. And how you feel about, something will dictate how much investment or interest you have in it. If you see beauty in a certain aesthetic, then that could be, inspire you. If you find a certain aesthetic to be dull or drab or you don't like it, then why would you why would there be an emotional investment in it? So I completely disagree with that premise.
Shit. Now, when discussing an adult Persona game, most people are usually talking about one with a college setting. I always chuckle a bit when people—
Oh, I see. I didn't even consider that idea. I didn't even consider that. I was thinking like people in their like 30s who were already in the workforce.
Say this, not because it's a bad idea, but because there's already this little game called Persona 3. The characters don't go to college, but I can attest that it's not too dissimilar from the college experience. I played this game for the first time when I was in college. It's a large fact.
See, yeah, college could work for a Persona setting, but it really wouldn't be too dissimilar from a high school setting. Like, let's be real, there's not enough of a difference to really justify going from high school to college. It's like, if you wanted to make a sequel game, Persona 4 2 or Persona 5 2 or whatnot, where the characters have grown up and they're in college, yeah, sure, that could work because we're building off established characters. But if you're starting with a brand new cast, like most Persona games do, then there's not enough of a difference between high school life and college life to justify that. Like, I think that for the change into adulthood to matter, you would need to actually do workforce age individuals, people who have seen the world, people who might be jaded by the world, people who have experienced adult hardship.
Factor in why I found this game in particular.
You say no sequels. What do you mean? Persona 5 Striker, for example, it's a direct canon sequel to Persona 5, and it's fucking great. So I don't know what you mean by no sequels.
To be the most—
Also, what do you mean Pixar? You say please no sequels, see Pixar. Dude, Toy Story 3 is legitimately one of the greatest trilogies in the history of cinema. It is genuinely right up there with The Lord of the Rings as a perfect trilogy. So I have no idea what you mean by see Pixar.
Relatable. You live in a dormitory with other students, you don't have any guardian figures to tie you down, and you kinda just go about your own business. Your roommates don't really get involved with your friends and personal life until later in the game. Obviously, in this theoretical new game, the story would be distinct, but I'm not sure if the college setting would really contribute anything unique to the gameplay loop. It would honestly just be Persona 3, but with slightly older characters.
Exactly.
Honestly, the most—
I do completely agree with him there. I've had a lot of criticism thus far in this video, but I do completely agree with him there.
Interesting way you could handle a college Persona setting is to double down on P3 Fest's quirky mechanics. Think about it, the stamina mechanic of Persona 3 Fest would make a ton of sense in a college setting. Again, I can testify, College students are in fact very tired a lot of the time, be it from
So are adults. So are high schoolers. Like, I don't think that's... I agree with him on the mechanical aspect of, like, using the stamina and whatnot. That is true. But this argument is fucking retarded.
Studying or doing God knows what. I can see conflicting schedules being a bigger obstacle here than in Persona 3. Hell, P3 was pretty generous all things considered. In most cases, characters would only be unavailable if they were tired or sick, which doesn't last too long. Aside from the occasional one-off day, there's never really a point where a party member will be unavailable for a significant amount of time. Unless your name is Aegis. You thought Yukari being gone for that one day to borrow someone's notes was annoying? A college student Persona character would be like, I'm available to dungeon crawl 3 days a week, take it or leave it. And
it's like getting together a fucking Dungeons and Dragons group knowing that you're gonna fall apart and have schedule conflicts after the first 2 sessions. Including session 0.
Availability days would be different across all party members. And God forbid, you'd have to plan around their availability and decide who you need more at the moment. I know a large amount
of... See, I think you could do this same thing in an actual adult office setting, right? Like, you got one dude who works nights, and you got another dude who works early mornings or works the overnight shift. You got someone who works the afternoon. You've obviously got your regular 9 to 5 office guys. Like, maybe you've got a fucking homeless character, right? Maybe you've got a homeless dude who is a pure of heart homeless person, so he's got all-around availability, but he needs to spend so much time fucking begging on the street corner. Which, by the way, sounds very American, but is a thing in Japan. They do have homeless people who do beg for money. You could do the same mechanic, and even more interestingly, still in the actual adult office life.
My audience likes Persona 3 Fest and would probably love this approach. But I know...
Dude, Matt Stanford, my old D&D group, with Paul, future over you, Paul Byersmith, in the chat, man, we ran consistently for like 2 or 3 years. Now, we did 4 campaigns in 3 years, and every time we'd finish a campaign, we'd take like a 3-month break, then we'd start another one. But we ran 4 campaigns over 3 years, and the 5th campaign was the one that fell apart. Broke our fucking streak.
For a fact that most players outside of my audience would definitely not. But what about a Persona game that forgoes the school setting entirely?
There we go. This is what I want to hear.
None of this post-secondary school nonsense. We've got small glimpses from other Atlas games that give us a little taste of it. Metaphor is probably the closest equivalent, although the whole fantasy road trip thing does make it a bit harder to tell how well this would translate into the modern contemporary adult life. But you have lots of character arcs surrounded by adult themes. Without spoiling anything, Stroll comes to mind with his struggle with how to handle the land he inherited from his deceased parents.
I cannot wait to play this game. I have it on Steam. Actually, it was gifted to me by one of you guys. So shout out, thank you to the viewer that gifted this to me. I think it was either Angmar or Mr. Rouge. But if it wasn't either of you guys, and I apologize. It may have been oh man. Yeah, I could be wrong. Anyway, either way, I appreciate it so much. I'm doing a bunch of Persona replays right now, and once I finish that, I'm going all in on Metaphor, especially after I build the new PC next week. Can't fucking wait.
Has a kind of true coming into adulthood feel to it. Heisme being a father looking for a proper place to bury his son's ashes is another good one. If you're looking to get a little more real, Catherine is a game with very adult themes, and the bar that you go to every night facilitates a good number of...
Oh, you're right, Angmar. I think it was No Hearts Left. You're correct. It was No Hearts Left. Thank you.
...ongoing side characters, with their own little story threads. Then when you go to bed, it's the main meat of the gameplay. This does somewhat fall in line with the Persona gameplay loop, but I don't see this being sustainable for a whole 100-hour Persona game. There's a reason Catherine is only 15 hours long. Soul Hackers 2 also facilitates its character bonds at the bar.
I've been told to play Soul Hackers. I've never tried a Soul Hackers game. I've been told I should play it. I really need to get into this series.
But also, you only have 3 characters to really bond with. Going to the bar after work and listening to people vent out their problems is only a tiny fraction of life. If you even go to the bar, I don't, but it's a cool option to have. Have you also noticed how in Catherine that none of Vincent's co-workers are ever—
Play the original Soul Hackers? Is it on Steam, or is there a way to get it, or would I have to emulate it? I mean, yeah, I'm not opposed. I don't even know what kind of game it is. I've just been told I should play it. People have told me now you'll like it.
really relevant to the story? That's the thing. Most people aren't really going to work to look for friends. Sure, you might befriend a coworker or two, but it's not really brimming with as much potential to find new friends as a school setting. So realistically, you end up with Persona, but just the non-school social links.
Right, but I think that's one of the aspects that would make it interesting. Like, work life is draining. Work life is difficult. Like, man, people talk about how hard high school is and whatnot, and when you're a high schooler, you think high school is difficult. Most people would go back to high school if given the fucking chance, comparatively, right? Most people would. The idea of doing a Persona game, but through the eyes of an adult with actual adult responsibilities, because adults have far more responsibilities than just work. I mean, imagine a Persona game where, like, you take, you have to go to your job every day, you do your social link stuff there, but you also have to make sure your bills are paid, right? You have to make sure that your rent is paid. You have to make sure that your electricity is on, stuff like that. There are aspects to that could make for an engaging, because half the game is the social sim, and that includes social obligations.
But wait, didn't Persona already have a ton of non-school related social links? In fact, doesn't Persona already have a lot of social links with adult themes to them? You know what, I've brought up Eternal Punishment a couple times already, so I might as well just say it. A good amount of the social links in later Persona games have more relatable themes for adults than Eternal Punishment has.
Now, this is true. Like, there's a reason these games are rated M for mature, and it's not just for fucking swearing, right? Persona covers a lot of heavy topics. Again, what would be different would be the writing, the worldview of your main character and your team, right? The worldview of the other Persona users and how they interact with all this otherworldly stuff. That's where it would change. Because yes, you can have these adult themes, these adult problems in the real world, but that all is secondary once you are in the alternate world. I think that how adults would handle these various evils with their more mature understanding of how the world isn't black and white would make for interesting characters and protagonists. Like, again, we're looking at Dojima right here, right? By the way, Dojima is one of the best characters in the entire fucking franchise. But tell me, would you not be curious if he was the protag, how he would have handled the events of Persona 4? It's an interesting theory.
You get way more glimpses into adult life with these more down-to-earth scenarios than you do with Ulala interrupting the story to go on her drunken tangent. You get a much better picture of what having adult responsibilities is like with characters like Dojima from Persona 4 being a single parent. You have characters like Mutatsu in Persona 3 who show a fatherly side to you because he can't admit he misses his family. You get to see how miserable adults deal with their jobs and find purpose in them again. And these aren't niche cases.
Right, but you're only covering the social aspect of the game. What about the other aspect of the game? Like, imagine President Tanaka here, fucking miserable with his job and whatnot. And even with that, he still has to find the reason. Like, if he was, let's say, the protagonist or one of the members of your Persona team, he would still have to find a reason, a justifiable reason to try and save the world, to find the good in people, to change hearts, whatever it may be, right? That's an interesting dichotomy. All the negativity and all the negative aspects of real adult life, but still finding the worthwhile aspects of that adult life and of the world at large outside it to continue doing what is right with an adult sense of right and wrong.
Either. Persona games always have a good handful of adult characters for their social links. But nah, people don't give a shit about non-party members' social links. They only care about the protagonists and their friends.
Now, honestly, the non-party member social links are more often than not the ones I absolutely prefer. Now, there's exceptions. Usually the best friend social links, like Ryuji, for example, in Persona 5, like, I fucking love that. That's one of my favorite social links. However, most of the time, it is the non-party members that I again, Dojima has one of the best social links in the entire fucking game. In Persona 5, Takumi, the one that runs the clinic, fucking love her social link.
Friends. Alright, time to address the elephant in the room. Probably the biggest reason why people want an adult-centered Persona game is simply to play as an adult with adult party members. And you know what?
Finally! You're getting to the... Yeah, you got 3 minutes left in this video and you're just now touching on this? That's weak sauce, bro.
I think that'd be pretty cool. But the key word here is intentions. You see, a good amount of the Persona fandom project themselves a little too much into the characters, particularly with the...
Wait, but that's what you're supposed to... It's a role-playing game. What the fuck? If you're not projecting yourself onto the character, then what's the point of playing? It's in the name. RPG, role-playing game. This is gonna be a ridiculous argument, I'm sure.
Dating aspect of the game. They get really self-conscious playing as a high schooler who can date other high schoolers.
What? No, first of all, no, they don't. Persona fans don't get nervous about that or don't get self-conscious or weird about it. Otherwise, these games wouldn't have the highest demographic that it's sold to, he showed it earlier, was adults. That wouldn't be the highest demographic and it wouldn't sell the numbers it sells if people were weird about that. It's still a fucking video game. That'd be like, reading Harry Potter and being like, oh man, I'm reading about 15-year-old Harry making out with 15-year-old Cho Chang. This is really weird. No, it's fucking fiction. If anyone's projecting, it sounds like this guy.
Guys, it's a video game. I don't normally like saying...
Okay, you know what? Okay, I agree with him there. Maybe I judged you too harshly. Yes, that is the correct takeaway. My bad.
This, but I assure you it's not that serious. You make the right dialogue choices and the character blushes and giggles. Low-key, I kinda feel like some people just want the college setting so they can have softcore sex scenes in Persona.
I feel like that's a jump or that's a reach. I've never once... Again, like I said earlier, it's not like I interact too terribly much with the Persona fandom because it's not... I don't like interacting with the majority of fandoms. Again, thanks Sonic the Hedgehog. But no, I don't see a reason why, like, Persona fans would, or why the creators of the Persona franchise would just like, oh, it's adults, so we're gonna put sex scenes in there. Like, there's literally no evidence to say that would happen, or that Persona fans would want that. And by the way, Rule 34 already fucking exists of these characters, and it always will. Rule 34 exists, like, dude, I'm sure there's plenty of Persona porno, is all I'm saying. Like, if you got Pokemon porno out there, I'm sure you got Persona porno.
They're in college. You know, they can get scenes with it.
I think this is a symptom of people mislabeling Persona as a dating sim. You know, the dating...
Well, that is an aspect to it. I mean, it's a social sim, but a chunk of that social sim does include a dating aspect. It really, a lot of relationships. You got brotherly relationships, fatherly relationships, loving relationships, platonic, romantic, the whole nine. But there is dating sim aspects to it, yes.
Sim where you can't even date most of the characters and you only date the ones that...
Right, Persona is fucking based and it doesn't let you be gay. And that should never change. Like, I don't care if you make Persona where your protagonists are adults, high schoolers, just make sure you keep it straight.
You can for like 1 or 2 ranks. The dating sim aspects are a bit more prevalent in Persona 3 Fest with things like the jealousy and reverse mechanics, but only marginally. Persona 3, 4, and 5 have always been about meeting new people. Not necessarily dating, but breaking out of your shell and socializing in general. Sure, that is a problem that adults need to deal with too, especially with the loneliness epidemic, but evidently...
Well, I would say it's actually even more of a problem for adults. Like, yes, I get there's a loneliness epidemic and the kids are having trouble socializing. COVID fucked up everyone's sense of how to be social. But children need to be like taught how to do it because, you know, they're children and they don't know, and it's a skill. Like any other skill, it's something to be learned. But kids will, on average, by and large, always have the time for it. They just might not have the skills for it. The interesting idea from the adult perspective is that even if you have the skills, which some might and some might not, like, you don't have the time. I am a social fucking butterfly. I can go to the bar and be friends with everybody and have a great time and learn people's names and then forget them by the next fucking day and I'll never see them again, but I'll always have those memories, right? I'm a social butterfly. I can strike up conversation with goddamn anyone. However, I don't have the time to do so. My social skills probably need a little bit of flexing, actually, because I don't get to go out near as often. But even when I do something as simple as a trip to the fucking grocery store, I make fun conversation with the cashier while I'm, checking out all my groceries and whatnot. See a dude got a One Piece, pin on it by his name tag, strike up a conversation about One Piece while he's putting the fucking groceries in the bag.
That's probably not what most people have in mind. To end on a positive note, it is still fun to imagine concepts for an adult-centric Persona cast, something I surprisingly don't hear enough people talk about when this topic comes up. A couple years ago, I watched Mirai Sentai Time Ranger for the first time, and I've come to the conclusion that it is the best Super Sentai series ever. I'm not gonna spoil the plot or anything, the only thing you need to know is that the main cast start up their own company as their base of operations. Obviously, this isn't the most original idea to put in a Persona game, considering I just told you where I'm directly referencing it from. But it'd be a pretty convenient way to keep the main cast close to—
Hey, thank you for the sub, Lucky Neko. Now, it's interesting that he brings this up, because the reason he likes this show, or likes this idea, it's Super Sentai with adults instead of high schoolers, same reason I like Dragon Ball Z, right? Like, the whole young hero thing that's in so many fucking shonen, I'm tired of it. I've been tired of it for fucking a decade and a half, dude. Dragon Ball at least has adults as the vast majority of your main characters. Like, yeah, you got Gohan, yeah, you got Goten, but by and large, the vast majority of the characters in Dragon Ball Z are adults. And, like, it's nice to see because it's not the same fucking thing over and over. Like, the chosen young hero and all these 14, 15, 16-year-old kids always being smarter than the adults around them. That's not how the fucking real world works. Like, that's why I don't identify with Harry Potter like as an adult like I did when I was a kid. I loved Harry Potter as a kid. I thought Harry Potter was awesome. We all did. We grew up with it. We're fucking 90s kids. Harry Potter was in our fucking blood, bro. As an adult, I rewatch those stories, reread those books, and I'm like, how the fuck did none of the adults figure this out? How the fuck did none of the adults see this? Why the fuck are these kids one-upping the adults in every single aspect when the adults are the ones that are supposed to be fucking, adults? It's so boring and I don't want to say unrealistic because, it's a world about fucking magic, but there's a lapse of logic that doesn't really follow through. So I like stories, if they're going to be competent, intelligent stories, told through the eyes of adults, because adults handle things, by and large, usually, in a more mature, logical, grounded fashion. Now, again, that's not always the case, and this isn't me knocking Persona. Like, one of the reasons I love Persona is because it does this shit incredibly well, and like he was saying, there's a lot of adult themes and adult stories and secondary events and whatnot in Persona, and that does work. A lot of times, your character is learning from the adults, not vice versa. You're not, now there are times when you're giving them advice and whatnot, and that works, and I like that, because, like, a lot of times these adults they're so set in the ways, they're learning, like, relearning through the eyes of somebody young and up and coming, and that works as well, but there's a balance to it. So the point is, I get what he's saying, and with this Super Sentai show, it's the same reason that I love Dragon Ball.
Together and working as a team. Each of the Rangers has their own craft they specialize in, like teaching karate, or repairing tech, which leaves room for humanizing characters in unique ways. Plus, Persona is already known for referencing Super Sentai since Persona 2. This could also more easily allow room for party member social links. They wouldn't all have to take place there, but it would allow more opportunities to put them somewhere where it would at least make sense. Hell, if you're one of those people who's insistent that the main cast have to have uniforms or costumes, this could be a good excuse to have them. Personally, I kinda prefer the normal outfits juxtaposing the supernatural. That's kinda always been a running theme in Persona. Actually, come to think of it, this kinda just sounds like a Shadow Operative spin-off. All my ideas really do just go back to Persona 3, huh? In conclusion, Persona 3 rules and Time Ranger is the best. Go.
Yeah, this is a pretty interesting video. I disagree with a lot of his takes. Some of them were good, some weren't, but all in all, I definitely think it was worth the watch. I definitely think it brought about an interesting discussion. I'll say that for sure. So I'll go ahead, again, link this in the video, link this in the comments below, give it a like, you know, give him a sub or whatnot. But yeah, all in all, I don't think he did. I think he failed to get to the core of it, which is what makes Persona different from all these other franchises isn't the gameplay. I mean, the gameplay it's pretty, at least the dungeon crawling aspect of it, it's pretty traditional JRPG shit, right? Weakness is, resistance is, 4 motherfuckers standing in a line, like, turn-based. That's all. Now, it's good. I love turn-based JRPGs and whatnot. That shit's my jam. But Persona doesn't really break the mold in any special way, unless you want to count, like ambushes and stuff. But anyway, I think that this is, the crux of it here that he didn't really address is, since Persona is such a, it's a franchise where your morals are put to the test, and where the morals of the characters are put to the test, that the morals and ideals of high schoolers are always going to be fundamentally different than adults in, let's say, their 30s, who have gotten whether it be set in their ways or just have a way of looking at the world that oftentimes is jaded or whatever it may be. And it would be very interesting to see how adult Persona users would react to these sorts of worlds. And again, we do get that in, but again, Persona 5 Strikers with the character of Zenkichi. And it's like, wow, we have an adult, like, likely in his early to mid-30s, who's a cop. He's now part of the Phantom Thieves. He's a Persona user. He is going on this quest. And the game makes a point at various different points to show how different the way that he looks at the world is from his cohorts. And the idea of doing a full game with a full party member of adults like that, especially because adults see the world different ways from other adults. They have their different moral values. They have their different views on you know, logic, problem solving, you know, just all the subjective nature of those sorts of things. Now, is that something I want from Persona 6 per se? I don't know. Like, part of me is in the camp of, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Persona 3, 4, 5, they're fucking awesome. They're great. Don't fix what ain't broken, right? My main gripe with Resident Evil, my favorite franchise of all time, is that it has a fucking identity crisis and changes every single fucking game, and there's no sense of consistency anymore, and I hate that. Resident Evil doesn't feel like Resident Evil. I wouldn't want Persona to change so much that doesn't feel like Persona. But in the hands of a talented writer, there is something that could be done with this. So I wish I had an answer for, like, at the end of this video, why I think the way I think, why I have the opinion I have, but I haven't really made one. Do I bet on the safety and the you know, consistency of keep the high school setting, because that's proven to work and it's awesome? Or do I say, let's try something new? I think I'm leaning towards stay with the high school stuff, but I do see the potential. I do. I see the potential for the adult aspect. Persona 5, let's date all the female characters at the same time. Yeah, so is Persona 4, but, like, there's no real there's no in-game mechanic that's a downside to it, but there's, like, negative repercussions and cutscenes and stuff. It doesn't actually affect gameplay. So it's, you know, dating all the female protags at once is, or not protags, but all the female party members at once, and female confidants and stuff. I've never done a playthrough through it. I can't bring myself to do it. I put my own morality in these games, and, like, I've never been able to cheat on an individual in a Persona game. But I've watched the cutscenes where it happens to see what it's like, and it's super funny. But, yeah, the Persona, I mean, so it's a game first, and the games get anime adaptations afterwards. Oh, yeah, you get beaten up for it, for example, yeah. Anyway, they get adapted into anime after the varying degrees of success. But yeah, all in all, there's potential there, but I don't know that in a risk versus reward scenario, I don't know that I would want to run the risk of making that change. But that's just my thoughts on the matter. That being said, we've been going about 4 hours. Woo! My throat's starting to give out on me. Right? Need to drink some of this water here. So, it's time for me to bounce out. Let's see who's live so we can get a raid going. How many of y'all are still here? 43 is still here. Nice. We had some drop off. That's fine. I figured this would be a bit of a niche topic. That's okay. We covered politics, covered gaming. It's been a good day. It's been a good day. I was glad I got to do a long stream today. Almost 4 hours. You'll love to see it. Alright, let's see who's live so I can send y'all bitches somewhere. Send y'all bitches to, you know what? We'll send y'all bitches to Nerdy Neo. Send y'all bitches to Nerdy Neo. I want y'all to say Vital Idol Raid in his comment section. And until next time, it's all here in the Nerdosphere. This has been Words of Paradise. Again, Neo Raid. Show my boy some love.